Welcome, everyone, to the Trovo Titans $10,000 closed qualifier, sponsored here by Trovo Titans. I'm Austin Champion, my host here today, Caleb Browner. Caleb, are you hype or what for what we are about to see unfold today?
Hype is underselling it. I have been in an absolute state since yesterday when we got through our qualifiers and we set up what we have here today, and I have been not so much sleeping, but waiting, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, knowing that soon the grand finale of everything we've been building here would be coming through, and now here I am, anxiously ready to get started.
Well, before we get into what is going to be unfolding towards that grand finale that we get into, let's, of course, get into what the Trovo Titans are. What are we here doing today with the Trovo Titans? Of course, we're doing what they do best, free-to-enter community tournaments with a collective prize pool of $250,000, a huge amount of money being dished out, and there are over 100 events that are going on across North America, Latin America, and EU. So if you're trying to stay up on what's going on with Trovo Titans, make sure you go and visit them at trovotitans.live. See them on their socials at Trovo Titans everywhere. They're very responsive, and they're going to be interacting with everybody as you go out and find them. So before we get into any more Trovo things, we have to get into what's going on with this tournament today, the Apex Legends Battle Royale. We're doing trios. We're dropping in on random maps. Yesterday we saw World's Edge. We saw a lot of great gameplay across the maps. But like I said, trio format. 40 teams came into this yesterday between the two groups. 20 have now advanced to the final round, where we're going to be having a chance between these 20 teams to see $10,000 distributed out of that prize pool. The top team will be sitting very comfortably if we get into that prize pool. I believe it's $3,000 that the top team is going home with, $3,250. So very exciting. We can see that the teams that came in from Group A, very competitive, had racked up amazing point totals for themselves. First team, that very strong, seeded first, Mad Dogs with 63 Titan points, racking up a huge lead over Complexity. Already 20 points between the two, showing a very dominant placement, but Complexity, nobody can scoff at this team. They did amazing as well in the placement, sitting at second. TSS, another team with great placement in those final circles, it's sitting at 39 points in third place. Team Nestle had a great qualifier getting into the qualifiers yesterday, but you saw them struggle to get success that they might have been able to get in their qualifiers. So they're sitting at fourth, 38 points, nothing to scoff at. They're tied with Bruvs. United States Army Esports sitting at sixth. Dark Matter Black at seventh. Trobros, the Trovo streamers, all at 21 points, sitting at eighth. The Coercion at 20 points, sitting at ninth. And Legends Never Die at 10th with 18 Titan points.
It's been fantastic to watch the things all go down. Mad Dogs, a dominant performance. But guess who else did? Our second roster, an entirely separate group that also did some wild and crazy things last game. And I'm so excited to see these two lineups of Titans clash as we have XSET in first, CHR in second with wide leads behind the rest of the group. It was an incredible set of games, but there are some other incredible individuals out there that just might be able to come through here today as we have Elevate GG, Dent Heads, Team FMS, Farm Boys, LN Demons, Glock 9, Bamboozled as always, and Dark Matter White.
And these teams, like you mentioned, or we mentioned earlier, are fighting for this prize pool that is insanely large. $10,000 going to be split between the teams.
My God.
Another reason behind the hype and all of those teams trying so hard. So first place, like we said, walking home with well over $3,000. Second place, $2,250. Third place with over $1,000. Fourth, starting to bring home under that $1,000 at $750 to come out and play some Apex and get competitive. Fifth through seventh will be taking home $600. And teams that place 8th through 10th out of the 20 teams will be walking very comfortably home with $300. So all great things. Stay tuned throughout the broadcast to see very hype plays, but of course we will be looking forward to that grand final match to see who's able to come out and break up that standings of whatever gets placed in the first 5 matches that we're getting into, and then who's able to maybe slide in from the back out of nowhere and place really high, get some amazing gas prizes. So we're going to have some hype gameplay coming up, and I'm pretty sure the lobbies are even getting loaded, so we're going to get to see that gameplay very soon, Caleb.
Yeah, it can't be soon enough for me. I've been ready for these final matches since the end of the day yesterday, and I only, as time goes on, become more excited. The doctors are becoming worried about my blood pressure levels, and I'm running out of breath already, as you can tell. But somehow I was safe enough air in my lungs to continue being excited all across these matches. I'm in it for the long haul. I hope you folks out there watching it in the chat are as well, because trust me, it's going to be well worth seeing.
It's going to be well worth seeing indeed. We saw a lot of great trio comps come out. The Gibraltar Bloodhound Octane combo definitely was one of the most devastating of all those trio pairings we've seen. We did get to see some, of course, Rampart, and we saw some little different things, some Valkyrie, but it didn't necessarily pop off. They weren't the ones that we were talking about in those final circles, sitting under the Gibraltar bubbles, trying to slide in with the Eva and do all these amazing lockdown situations. There was just insane amount of people that were making it to the final circle yesterday. We'd see maybe, I believe in the second group, it was down to circle 4 or 5, and we had still 7 or 8 squads in with like over 20 people.
It was a very interesting dichotomy between the two groups as well, because we didn't see that as much with the first group. The first group, generally speaking, we got down to the last couple of circles. It was a pool of maybe about 4 to 3. And then the second group, we were getting down to second to last, even last circle sometimes, with 10 groups still out there. I'm like, what happened? There was this, with the first group, constant fighting the entire time. Constantly somebody was getting into a skirmish at least, if not there being all-out multi-person, multi-team fights going through. With the second group, there would be a fight that would happen and then silence. It would be nothing for minutes on end, just people gathering. We go back and forth. You see people moving, spotting other people. No, don't engage. Don't engage. Stay frosty. Stay cool. Keep low. Approach. Get in there close. Get ready to pop them. Time strikes. And then all of a sudden, boom, everything goes wild at once. It was a powder keg.
And we're going to get to see how those two contrasting groups that they had to traverse through will get to meet up now in these bouts that we got. Because we're going to have 6 battles altogether, 6 drops. So there's going to be a lot of time for a new meta to approach. We can look at some highlights from yesterday, seeing what we're speaking to and like what ways that both Mad Dogs and were able to be so dominant, or United States Army Esports were able to do some of the amazing approaches that we saw, and some of the what you would say not advantageous situations. They're sitting sometimes on the back foot, but still able to pull out some really cool advances. The highlights from yesterday just go to speak for themselves, and the volume of some of those clips that we got to were getting way too loud.
I've seen some things on social media, some images, some reports of myself and whatnot that are approaching some high levels. I apparently did raise my voice at several junctures. This is not news for me, and this is not something that I'm going to unfortunately be able to stop doing. So headphone users, beware anytime I am on screen. But also, I'm excited for a reason. It was absolutely well worth the levels of volume that we both reached, I feel.
It was so exciting. I'm also excited to see some of the upcoming events that Trovo Titans are running, because I've seen that they do have some Fortnite events, some Pokemon Unite events. We can look into what we have going through the end of July and August here. The Fortnite solos, like I just mentioned, $300 prize pool going in there. The Brawl Stars 3v3 as well. Brawl Stars 3v3 with $300 prize pool. So huge prize pool for that game. And then that Pokemon Unite gameplay we're talking about, August 8th. It's coming live. Pokemon Unite dropping in a few days here in America. So it's going to be exciting to see people get familiar with the game, have a few weeks, get your comms and your comps all ready to go, and just like that, you will be able to get a $300 prize pool between your team if you're able to solidify. So it's going to be exciting to see what fires up out of these next Trovo events that we're bringing to y'all live.
It's going to be crazy. We have a lot of things that I'm looking forward to in this upcoming tournament, but I feel like just off the top, the matchup that everyone is excited to see is going to be Xset and Mad Dogs. Leading both of their respective groups, there's got to be a lot of attention in regards to how those two are going to intersect. But keep in mind that their second and third place competitors are not that far away from them in terms of skill set, in terms of success, even over the course of those matches, and especially thrown into the maelstrom that is going to be all these teams cooperating together. I'm really looking forward as well to seeing some of the upsets. I want to see some of the underdogs come through. I want to see somebody sweep in from 8th place in one of their groups, and all of a sudden, they're taking out Mad Dogs beginning of one of these matches, and now it's like, are you on top now? Is it you? Are you the champ killer? Is that what's going to happen? Who knows?
And with the small sample size that we got of only 3 drops yesterday, that can so easily be the narrative that changes. We can see some of these contenders that maybe felt a little bit of pressure, felt a little bit of shakes. Okay, we've made it past the open qualifier into this closed qualifier. Maybe, you get a bit more closed in on yourself. It is easy to, realize that you're next to complexity, that you're next to Mad Dog, that you're next to United Army Esports, and you have to deal with these big energies that are very comfortable in these competitive situations, and you have to rise to that. So now that they know they're locked into these top 20 teams, that they have a chance to be in that money if they just make it into the top 10 placement, we might see those top teams begin to fall, and those underdogs that have been waiting, sharking through the bottom of those standings, coming out like a big iceberg, taking out the Titanic.
It's going to be incredible to watch in action, no doubt. Our first drops, you can see, leading features of the game themselves, Mad Dogs coming in hot with, as it'll come as no surprise for anybody, we have Octane, we've got Gibraltar, we've got Bloodhunter. It's going to be another spectacular.
Another spectacular one indeed. The first comp we see was the meta of yesterday. We see CHR, who mastered and piloted these three legends so expertly, getting a nice early drop, just like Xset, their competitors that we also expect to do an amazing job in this first round. And look at GG already in a pretty heated gunfight, seeing Muzin getting dropped, having to get revived. They did have a chance to repel that initial pressure, but there are people getting dropped all across the map, already down to 19 squads.
You see, as per usual, the early game is going to be a little bit methodical, one could say. A little bit nice and easy. Nothing too crazy popping off yet, at least from what we've seen. Who knows what's happening on other portions of the map at the moment. But we do see on this team, we have the swap out Bloodhound. Instead, we have the Crypto on deck. But this further just goes to show the emphasis on vision, the emphasis on getting eyes on your opponents, knowing where to go and how important that is to the current meta game. Every team has got somebody for that just about. Anybody without it, we saw having a lot of difficulties in that last match. Any of our groups yesterday that did not have some form of vision-based legend out there, really having an issue getting flanked hard, getting snuck up on, things like that.
It can be such an issue in games like this to not have that recon unit. And we see now Baz getting absolutely pressed upon by Mad Dogs, I believe. They're inside of this building. Mad Dogs finding a nice offensive front, but Noth is getting chunked out. We see that they were able to clear out the rest of the team, though. Baz getting dropped here by the oppressive energy of Mad Dogs. A lot of loot to pick up here. Medkits are already in tow. They're able to get some of the pressure on the Evo upgrades, but it doesn't seem anybody besides Madness is sitting on some upgraded armor right now.
Only for the time being, though, we see Dark Matter Black here in a bad spot, though. I can't help but notice 2 names on that list, not 3.
2 names, yes, also on Team Nestle.
This has been apparently a climactic beginning, and also 18 squads are left. They have a little moment of respite here, enjoying the backwards bounce on the jump pad there. But further out, we have LN Demons rotating, looking for that loot on the hunt as per the usual. Nobody in sight that I can see just so far, but who knows what lurks nearby. Xset, meanwhile, is a surprise to nobody. Looks to be pretty well equipped, things well set up. Got a flatline of the charge rifle on deck. Somebody's about to get melted from a mile away.
Plenty of mid-range and far coverage with that. Xset's going to be feeling comfortable going into this choke here. You see they're getting a little bit of a gunfight popping. They might not be trying to commit to this too hard, as they're not as farmed as they usually look in these situations. Usually you see a bit more of the defensive capabilities from them. So you're seeing them start to kite back, use the Gibraltar bubble to get a bit of space and breathing room and not get beat up too early. But nice spacing used there. Xset trying to still disengage from this, but getting gunned down on the way. Xset trying to not get dropped too early here.
Getting serious mobility off of that once again. Octane's need for speed comes in handy. Meanwhile, TSS dropping through, gonna get a little bit of clip on the advance here. Got Gibraltar behind some cover. Trying to lob a few shots, getting a few in return, but not taking too much damage. Moving rounds to help cover his allies. Some mid-air work is going to just be able to take a little bit off of that shield. Nothing too major. Overall, this is another one of those skirmishes we saw yesterday. Nothing too impactful, not an all-out war. Nobody going through the grinder here. But as you can see, that might not be the case for very long. Vision is pinged. But the opponents know they're being watched. Well aware their opponents are keeping an eye on them, and they've got the ability to call in some vision as well with the Crypto.
Plenty of opportunity there to use the utility of that niche pick that they chose to start out today's matches with. Like we said, these are 6 BRs that we will be jumping into today. This is the first of those BRs. So if you're just joining us, be ready to hunker down and get into some amazing Apex. But before I get into that, Xset already has found another opportunity to get a nice skirmish in, trying to get some offensive pressure into the enemy Gibraltar bubble, and then dropping their own a case to get away, but maybe have pushed too far, a little bit overextended, getting dropped now, and TSS sitting on the more favorable side of that trade.
Like a lot of heat coming through here. The Gibraltar trying to drop the bubbles, not going to help, unfortunately, because they are sliding through with one teammate down. The enemies have the initiative and the confidence to just charge ahead. CHR cleaning up there as we quickly sweep by to get their angle on things. Ella and Demons still all on their feet, but on the move. You got Wraith moving ahead. Teammates a little bit behind, doing some scouting. No immediate danger around that corner, but as you can see, the danger is not too far away at all. This location is still very much hot.
It feels like every spot on the map right now is hot as there are gunfights blazing across the map. We see also Rakinishu downing Apolis, the Trovos over there on some other part of the map, Farm Boys as well, as this is the fight that we were just speaking on between Trovos and Farm Boys. They're going to see already a few drops coming in, and I think there also is third party here. Another team approaching from the side, so Farm Boys going to have to be very careful about how they want to dissect this fight. They've already downed one person, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to continue to pressure Trobros. They might be able to get that revive.
It's going to be tough to do so here. We see Sonar going out once again. Bloodhound doing a little bit of recon. We see the Gibraltar bubble go up, dive straight through it to try and get the pressure on the enemy team. They're a little bit too risky for My Blood as he takes a lot of heat and ends up downed. That was a little bit greedy by Farm Boys.
Rakinishu possibly thinking that there were more reinforcements there than there were, and taking the brunt of a huge answer by the turtling team there, taking such an offensive approach on that Gibraltar bubble. I'm not sure what the comms were there, but able to get out, able to get the revive. Gonna have to use a bit of resources to get back to full health, but just like that, we see the team able to stabilize. We see them at least be able to take a moment to breathe, but they know how weak they are. They know how many resources are going to be used, and we could see the team get re-engaged upon very quickly.
Thank God for that dimensional rift, getting them out of there just in time. Meanwhile, Farm Boys coming out here, getting the push on nobody. I really thought they were going to turn that corner and see somebody. That's what that pause was for. I really thought my spatial awareness, moving back and forth between different perspectives, a little bit difficult to get the head straight sometimes on the map. I really did think they were about to turn the corner and see who we just saw, but they get to get through there without having to suffer an immediate engagement. Further out, though, we can see the engagements are happening. Glock 9 engrossed in battle here. Somebody is already down. They are down one Bloodhound, but Gibraltar's got him back up on their feet. No problem.
Get in there, buddy. Pat on the back. Send that man packing. Get him shielded up, guys. Let's disengage this Glock 9 using that Octane jump pad to try to get to safety. Find some solace in this moment of gun spray coming down upon them. The retreat is being cut off. You see them being contested at every angle, and very clean shots coming in from Farmer Lucas up on the hill, getting amazing high ground angle. Just farming for the headshots. Not being able to down anybody yet, but we see Glock 9 still getting chased upon. I believe they did get dropped there. I do believe that was a wipe.
That was a difficult thing to watch. 15 squads left, and complexity is one of them, coming as no surprise again to anybody that saw our last match. This is a team that garnered a lot of respect just based on the gameplay performances, and a team that we knew was going to be hot going into things, and they still exceeded expectations. They still got some hot competition, though. Farm Boys has done quite a bit of work to come ahead as well, earning their spot despite a lot of difficulties. They had some rough matches, but they really brought things back and showed they are here to swing. They might be one of those underdogs type teams, but even that feels like an underselling of just how well they did yesterday.
Absolutely. There is now a collision between two groups that played very differently happening. They're going to have to try to feel out the pace, feel out what's going to transpire in this new meta between these, honestly, higher caliber teams now. These are going to be the top of the top from yesterday. These are the creme de la creme, if you will, the top 50%, and only 50% of the top 50% are going to be in the money. So people are trying extra hard, sweat mode, fully engaged, and you see the LN Demons trying to get a bit of space here, but they've been detected. They have some pressure coming onto them as they try to turtle into this building.
Only the top 50 of the top 50, but having extra games means there's also extra opportunity for someone to have a bad run at the start potentially and bring things all the way back. There's an interesting mix of pressure because you have to sustain long-term and opportunity. If you start off on the bad foot, you might be able to bring things back around, but it is so hard to come back from bad momentum. It is still going to require a lot of skill and coordination with this team and morale building, which is in and of itself a valuable asset for any team.
Yeah, those comms get fired up more and more as you've gotten through difficult circumstances. You understand to trust yourself, and nothing is going to be more conducive to being creative and getting out of in some insane situations than having everybody comfortable and feeling like any shot that you call is the right one.
Which is a hard thing to manage, but once you get into that flow state, you just let everything go, you're always going to be your best self out there performing. That's across any esport, folks. And in this one, you get to see plenty of great examples of that because these folks have been truly tried and tested, battle hard and tempered by the fire of war, and are looking good today.
When you said tempered by the fire, it's so tempted for some through the fire and flames, but that would take 13 minutes.
Carry on.
To go through a 13-minute elaboration, ballad, if you will, of how much we could talk about testing each other with iron and iron, sharpening each other.
That'll be the after show. Well, for the end credits, it'll just be us doing an incredible riff all through the fire and the flames. So for the time being, we'll have that in a little bit more of a literal sense because there's a lot of explosions going on. At the very least, there's said to be in a few moments. This is another one of those lulls, I feel like. We are, once again, only getting a view on some of our teams here. Dark Matter White indoors, doing a little bit of setup, keeping themselves well guarded, well prepared. As they bust down the door, they got the sonar up. It doesn't look like there's anybody in close proximity they have to worry about. This is, again, preparatory work. What I can see as that circle is going to be coming through to close up a little bit more sometime soon. We have a fight breaking out here. However, Dark Matter White got the Gibraltar bubble up as they prepare for some engagement. That circle closing does look like it has indeed brought some folks over from that end of the map into their location. They're not pursuing, they're not diving in after them, they're letting them come here.
Playing this so tempered. We see the early aggression has been punished so heavily in this group, so teams are not being too aggressive. They see now CHR is getting an opportunity to go into this fight, getting an opportunity to approach, getting down into the sewer system as well to be able to hunt out some opportunities like that. Downing Durrani getting down by Cody. We see what happens as Dark Matter White, like we saw earlier, still in a very awkward situation. They were getting pressed up upon, but it seems that the team that was pressing on them has switched focus.
There was a lot of, not sure if you saw the moment where you were watching the door and there was shots coming up from a different angle. He stayed focused on that door. This is another key thing because we saw a lot of people getting flanked hard in that last day in both groups. And it cost a lot of people their opportunities being so drawn in by movement immediately that they got snuck up on. So once again, we're seeing the composure on deck from everybody. Even the people that are on the lower end of this group are still the higher end of their respective groups from yesterday.
CHR is looking farmed and poised. They have the builds they want in massive armor. Dark Matter White being able to just get amazing bank shots as they sit here with a very open and aggressive pathing there from the enemy team. They try to call that out. Just farming a bit of damage, not able to get any downs or wanting to press that any further. There, like you said, is a lot of teams looking to flank, looking for anybody to hard commit and check somebody too hard so that they can go and put somebody else on the back foot, looking to get a more opportunistic approach out of somebody mispositioning too aggressively.
Not getting any hits off of that engage. You can see where your opponents are, but again, every team has vision, so they know that you're there and they know that you're knowing because they got the sonar detection. So not only do they know that you're there, they know that you know that they know that you know that they're there, and that can all get very confusing. But ultimately, it means that they're being very precautious here with their peaks, trying their best to stay behind cover at all times, staying focused on the direction of their enemies, but also being well aware of whether or not they are exposed from that angle.
When you said all those knowings, it made me so thankful that these pros do not have option paralysis. Imagine with their infinite knowledge of what they could do in Apex, they all just stare at each other.
It's very possible to fall into. It's definitely happened to me, in which I realized that there were a million people around me. It's like, okay, now I'm going to, oh, I've been slain.
We call this the spaghetti of esports. Your brain is spaghetti, hands spaghetti, nothing to do. No answer to the conundrum that lies in front of you. We see round 3 is closing, though. 15 seconds on this round 3 closing. So Circle 4 will make for a very explosive battle, as we are still with 10 squads holstering 27 people. We have 10 squads still. We spoke to that earlier, how in Group 2 yesterday, we saw multiple squads getting to this end game. So people that have gotten to Group 2's final circles, I feel like have the upper hand in this exchange, because the people from Group A yesterday, the teams from Group A, had to deal more often with being in 3 or 4-man bouts at that end circle. So they might be more conditioned in this current tournament setting to not be as considerate of the 9 other squads that are going to be around you.
It's a difficult situation too, man, for sure. Diving in like an angel of death, shoots in from above. This Octane showing off the dream scenario for any Octane player. I feel like it was a perfect descent. I got the scorecard right here, folks. I'm on camera right now, but 10, absolute 10.
We're going in, we're going deep. Gets the wingman out, firing my laser, gets everything going for the squad. Complexity getting an amazing skirmish and knocking out a squad win. We were just talking and speaking to how Circle 4 was going to be so explosive. It is such a smaller circle than Circle 3. Even though Circle 3 is small, Circle 4 really puts the burners and the pressure on for you to make some decisions. There's not that space, that comfortable, I'm going to maybe sit here and have a chance to rotate when people go against other and find other opportunities to go on. No, you're being checked at every angle because someone has an angle on you.
At any given time, especially with the circle being this small, you've got to presume that you are being hunted. Look at that. It's just beautiful. It's perfect. Truly got every good look that he needed on that ascent of the replay. And it's only going to get wilder from here. This is our first game. We already have something I feel like belongs on the highlights reel. I really hope I see that on Twitter later.
Definitely a highlightable moment. It's so important too to use your resources. If you have a shield battery, make your shield disappear so that you can get the use out of that item. You see that use of the full shield battery coming in clutch. Instantly able to get into a fight after that because no health was lost too. So Complexity feeling very comfortable moving forward. Now 8 squads left the same way we left it before, but 6 people have been eliminated. We see that Mad Dogs are the kill leaders currently, and under fire, not able to kite back, trying to get a bit of defensive positioning. Cody going to have to scan out some better path possibly, but we see how many scans from all these enemy Bloodhound teams are coming out. They're able to get a very clean flank here.
Missed a couple of shots coming through the storm. Beneficial for the team they're hunting out, but Mad Dog's coming in once again from above. It takes a lot of heat. The Octane just might go down here, but it might be worth it because they absolutely clean up shop. Also distracted, trying to finish off that Octane that they can't finish off the entire team coming through. They've got some healing to do, but they've also managed to completely eat up one of the teams.
I believe that was CHR as well. I seen that Hambino was down. I seen a lot of teams just getting pounced upon. That Octane jump pad just getting it looked like a hail of arrows as those legends came in, darkened the night sky, making whatever defensive capabilities you thought possible with that Gibraltar bubble completely null and void. So good on the squad from Mad Dogs to continue to press that kill lead energy, continue to be so aggressive. Complexity now pressed against the wall, having themselves in quite of a complex situation of themselves, as there's not going to be a great way to escape what is 2 teams now having great angles on them.
How are they going to find this way out of this one? Complexity is in a tough spot here at the very least. Reptile is with a lot of heat coming his way. Bloodhound is down and bleeding out, completely finished off here. We now have 1 member left for Complexity, who's got some banners to recover. For 1 team member, he got another deliver. We might be able to see them get out of here, but it's going to be tough. You don't have a lot of freedom left. The circle being this small is so easy to get picked off mid-transit, just trying to get your teammates back out there.
iShiny so comfortable with that R4 hitting straight flesh from downtown, as trying to get a bit of pressure on the situation so that there is a bigger fish than her, so that Wraith can get some opportunity to get the invulnerable rush to deliver those beacons. Like you said, 2 beacons to deliver from that complexity team. So it's going to be a tall order, lot to ground to cover with a lot of gunfire happening. If you don't have a mobile respawn beacon as well, it's going to be difficult. But Mad Dogs continuing to be in the center of these firefights. We see them now pressing up, getting a little bit too aggressive is Cody.
Mad Dogs taking a loss here. Farm Boys, however, still all on deck. 4 squads left, and one of them was Mad Dogs, but it looks like they're actually going down here. Down to the last member, but it is Gibraltar. Does he have the defense for it? He does not. And that is Mad Dogs out of here. Meanwhile, Farm Boys perseveres on and manages to pick off the final team right after that engage leaves their enemies weak. I'm not sure which team that was that managed to finish off Mad Dogs, but they were then finished off by Farm Boys. And folks, that is our first game.
The seeds of Farm Boys play come into fruition today. Game 1, they're out for the harvest. Who would have known that what they did yesterday would go into setting a great tone for themselves here on the second day of tournament when it matters the most? There's the cash prize in for contention. Farm Boys with an amazing placement there, starting off first. Mad Dogs going a little too aggressive. We saw Cody unfortunately go without the Gibraltar bubble and gets down before his team comes in. They tried to clean up the mess there, but it was just going to be such a good check all around. CHR, we see, were doing great, very aggressive throughout the game, but they did get down by Mad Dogs in a crazy Octane jump pad. This was one of your favorite moments of the game, this Octane jump pad from Complexity. We keep saying Octane jump pad. That's going to be the cutting edge, it seems, in these gameplays. These teams are using the mobility top notch.
Absolutely. This is something that has been the case since the beginning of the game. As much as we've talked about visibility being such a huge factor here, which it is, in ways that are not unheard of in earlier seasons, but in ways that are definitely, I feel like, highlighted this season in particular. But mobility has always been a huge feature, and it never really is going to go away. Pathfinder may no longer be the absolute mandatory pick on every team, but with Octane being a close second, Octane, even as much as we have seen of him in this matchup, is still absolutely pivotal here. Those jump pads offering your teammates the ability to cut ahead, as well as Octane being able to skirmish so effectively, makes him a very, very pivotal feature in ways that are comparable to characters like Wraith, and again, still even now like Pathfinder, not to as much of a degree certainly, but we saw so many moments just in this game alone that the mobility really is what made or broke an engagement, including, like you said, my personal favorite match there. There's going to be something everybody has to have in mind in these next matches going forward.
Like you say, there's just so many great moments, so many notable moments. My hand is on my head, my jaw is dropped as I'm watching those highlights, because there's just such great gameplay coming out early in this Apex tournament. We are going to have to take a quick break, to make sure that we can compose ourselves for what's to come. So go nowhere far. Just get yourself maybe some water to cool down from the heat that is happening between these legends, and we will see you back here very shortly.
Are you streaming on Trovo yet? We're welcoming streamers to become part of our exciting and supportive community, no matter how big or small. It's easy to use, has fun features, and is especially great for mobile gaming. Streamers can receive subscriptions, gifts from fans, and many more cash rewards. New Trovers can earn up to $380. Just use referral code Trovo Titans. That's TROVOTITANS in the Creator Studio to become a Trovo streamer. It's time to level up and start streaming on Trovo.
We're rewarding our community with coveted Titan points in North America, Latin America, and Europe. Titan points can turn into cash at the end of the Trovo Titan series. You can earn Titan points 3 ways. Join our Discord and hang out with the community. Your engagement will earn you automatic points. Play in our free-to-play online tournaments. The more you play, the more points you earn. If you place well in the tournament, you'll get bonus points too. Be part of the fun and earn Titan points today. We'll see you on the leaderboards. Visit trovotitans.live/titanpoints for more info. Looking to be the next great Trovo caster? Apply today for the Trovo Titans Community Caster Program. We're looking for dedicated Trovers who want to boost their following by casting some of our community tournaments right from your own channel.
Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that short break. We enjoyed the moments that we had to calm down if you're just joining us from what was a crazy game one coming out from these teams today. It's me, Osti Champ, and my friend Caleb here. We are making sure to be the best that we can be to cast what has been an insane event, $10,000 prize pool for this closed qualifier Apex Legends tournament that already is unraveling crazily. As we get into what the leaderboard was from that last game, we know that the teams are absolutely relentless. Mad Dogs finished at 24 points, earned Farm Boys, the champions of the round, at 22 points. Complexity and Elevate GG both sitting there comfortably at third. CHR, another team that's been dominant out here in these battle royales, at 11 points. And then we see a huge three-way tie there at 6th. Trovo, Legends Never Die, Team Nestle, all sitting very comfortably at 7 points with a lot of room to go up the standings. TSS are at 6 points, tied with Dent Heads. And on the other side of the teams, I'm not sure, we probably exactly have two more teams tied for that spot, Team FMS and Dark Matter White. Bruvs, Dark Matter Black, The Coercion, LN Demons, all tied for that 13th place. United States Army Esports and the rest of the bracket all sitting there at 3 points. So you see how contentious this is all throughout. The top is close, the middle is close, the bottom is close. Caleb, I need a moment, man. This is going to be insane as we get into these next 5 games.
What happened to Xset? That's my first question. What happened to Xset?
Xset had to accept a moment of humbling as they came into very competitive battle. That was so intense.
Xset had to accept their exit early in the game. And apparently, we're going to have to be looking for an upset because this match has already given us a lot of interesting things to think about, including the rise of Farm Boys nice and early. Mad Dogs in exactly the kind of position we expected of them. And overall, things still being very open. Even without the long day we have ahead of us, the point totals are not all that wide. As expected, it's only the first game, but we saw some interesting things. Mad Dogs being taken down and still managing to have the point lead goes to show how excellently they were doing all the way through. Like we said during the break, it really was just one mistake that stopped Mad Dogs from capitalizing on that win at the very end there, not to take away from the excellent plays Farm Boys put out there.
Cody just went a little far. He got punished at that doorway. The team was a little far, and the kill lead that they had was able to solidify their placement, still sitting at first. Farm Boys, you saw them now like that team you said, underdog story, getting to rise from what looked to be middle pack type runs yesterday into now sitting very comfortably at second, competing with these top teams. So this drop is going to be getting us into what is no doubt going to unfold into another crazy narrative.
Absolutely. And as we kick things off with Xset, getting to see them hopefully have a bit of an easier time at the beginning of the match here, but then again, it's Xset. I don't think they need easy, but I think they are in a space here where even a top-tier team can run into another top-tier team and just be hit with an excellent player right at the beginning. So let's not give them too much flack, especially this early on, or you're going to regret it later on underestimating a team like this. We are seeing some love in the chat that I'd love to see for U.S. Army Esports as well. A little bit lower down on the rankings currently, but with plenty of time to shoot ahead. Like we said, this is still a very even playing field, all things considered. And so no doubt we'll get the chance to peek in on them sometime later, but for now we can see the excellent first couple of clears when it comes to the loot going through. We can see the team is getting some solid pickups here. Already got some great gear on our team. US Army Esports bringing through the Revenant once more as well. Going to be very interesting to see them utilize that great push that culminating yet another one of my favorite moments from yesterday, where we got to see the glorious ascent uphill. Insert your favorite moment from one of your favorite army movies or ancient warrior movies here. You know, take your pick. Braveheart, Lord of the Rings, anything. It was cinematic.
We stand today. We ride at dawn. They ascent, as you said, up the mountain, able to use that Revenant Death Totem to make a very nice situation for themselves. We already see 2 people have dropped from the 60. I believe it was 2 Trobros. So one of the streamers were able to get away. I'm not sure which one it was, but they're going to have a tough battle now sitting with one person. Hopefully, they'll be able to rat through, pick up some cheeky little kills, and get a nice placement for themselves, even though they didn't start off on the best foot. Where you drop sometimes can be devastating. Someone can drop on that loot just a little faster, have access to sometimes something as OP as a 301 to start things off, or a wingman just opening up the flatline. Also a very potent tool. We see Complexity already having their hands on items like that, and the shotgun, the Eva, already in the hands of Reptar. So they're feeling comfortable walking into a fight. You can already see them starting to scout out and approach upon a team. Already dropping the dumpling guy as well. They're going to get some time to recoup, get some time. Dark Matter White, you see, on the ropes in this fight against Complexity.
Beautiful work already being done, but nobody out of the game yet. We're seeing some people drop, but squads are still fully formed. How long that'll last, though, I can't be certain. And there we go.
As if by your own command.
Speak of the devil, and here we are. I mean, it was not all that ridiculous a call, considering that we were watching the numbers drop and then we zoomed in on somebody that had one player left. Legends never die, however, living up to the name so far, at least, and holding on to all three members. It's still very early on, and with the balance we have struck in our first game, if that continues, I'd imagine we're not going to see that many full squad wipes this early on. It definitely feels like the more precautious members of the team are definitely setting the pace from our last game, where we mentioned having one group that was all guns blazing start to finish, and another that was a little bit more slow and steady. I feel like slow and steady is winning out, if not because of the members of that group filtering through, but also I think everybody's a little bit more precautious. Like you said, now that we're in the money ranges, everybody's playing it a little bit more close to the chest.
It was close to the chest until it wasn't last game. We saw things got insanely explosive. So many teams converging on each other, having the exact number of where each other were at. We see Elevate GG taking this downhill approach, trying to scout out some opportunities to down another squad. And we do see somebody getting dropped. I believe Complexity drops another team across map as we're following that, but no time to worry about that team. Nestle in their own bout as well, getting into this position here with the Gibraltar bubble getting to pop off, trying to get some angle on that, but maybe going a bit too far, getting downed on the Octane. And now we see their Gibraltar falling as well. CHR, I believe, is the team that they're fighting, and now it's 1v1. No, Ronnie still having time, was able to pop the bat, gets dropped anyway. Hambino approaching, gets the punch in the face.
Right straight to the dome, and he gets the revive as well. That team might be back on his feet in a minute. Managing to hold on. It was do or die. Don't act like it was a 1v3. Everyone definitely participated in weakening the opponents there, but there we go. Out of here, Mad Dogs trying to get the hump, but somebody goes sailing past. Hunting him down as best he can. Gets a few hits on him as he tries to escape. I'm not sure if he's down yet. No, he's still on his feet and getting out of here.
Noth finds him on the other side, downs him. Bino gets what was a nice cleanup out of the skirmish between the two squads. CHR were feeling so confident to be able to start rezzing, to feel comfortable, at least to get Gibraltar up for possible skill use, get some coverage, some blinding lights, anything. But no, Mad Dog so expertly knowing how to be aggressive, knowing where the third-party situation lies, and being able to get some nice follow-up damage on Hambino, who almost got away on that Octane.
Wild to watch in action here. X-Set from deep doing a little bit of recovery work here. They've got a team member to bring back. They've got sonar on them. Somebody's got eyes. X-Set not going to sweat it too much. We can see the Octane getting a little bit of distance and doing some shield bat recovery. But right now, they are denied their own vision because Bloodhound is down.
That is so crucial in these team comps that are all vision-based we've seen in this meta.
He's facing some heat.
Having to do some kiting damage, try to get some nice movement as he goes down this hill. Nice terrain. The use on Octane gets so much out of those use of terrain slides with the boost on his skill. So see that he's able to get away, but no doubt he is still in much danger. A lot of pressure being put onto X-Set right now.
Especially given things being very rough for them at the beginning of the last match. That wall is definitely closing in. They're not going to be able to get past the storm without taking some damage, as we saw there. X-Set, however, unfortunately has a reset time out on Bloodhound. 16 squads are left, and they have no vision.
No vision. They're feeling the heat now from multiple fronts. They have to get through the circle that is closed on them. Complexity a team that's already feeling very comfortable inside the circle, looking to start picking off these teams that are rotating in. Farm Boys as well in a similar position. They have this Wraith very, very geared up, a lot of armor, super comfortable to maybe take some heat and then use that ultimate to get out of situations. Probably charged at this point. 16 squads remain as this round 1 is closing. It seems like with the heat that's going on though, already 15 squads now. Complexity dropping another team.
Wild Warriors so far. Farm Boys still living up to that edge, living up to the reputation they earned in our first game here so far. Doing clean work. Meanwhile, further out, LN Demons is in the middle of a firefight up the top, but it looks like they're going down. All eliminated, cleaned out, unfortunately, by their opponents here. 14 squads left now. We are seeing some big names get dropped.
Huge names getting dropped early in this. This means that there is plenty of space opening up for teams that maybe got in the middle or the bottom of the qualification last time. Team FMS, a team like that we just mentioned now, one that didn't maybe get the best placement early, but now sitting comfortably. You see they're very farmed. You see that they have a lot of mobility and they still have that meta comp that people have been running fully geared. So not going to be having a hard time finding the second circle, even though they are a bit out of range.
This is an intense, very, very hype moment here as we wait for another fight to pop off there. All getting absolutely melted there. You can see gas bomb going off, but it's not saving him in a bad spot there to rest. I'm seeing an interesting team comp going down in there. You're definitely seeing a Caustic laying down that trap. I believe that is Octane in the back. Mad Dog's hunting him down, doing the best they can, getting a lot of open lanes here. They are vulnerable, sitting ducks in that can. We also see some folks asking in the chat, US Army Esports is indeed still in this match somewhere off in the distance. Not sure where exactly. Well, they're in the rankings at the very least and have the potential. Not sure if they've managed to survive this long in this particular game, but with the games ahead, they definitely have the time to make a comeback happen.
The Coercion, another team that was able to get a nice placement out of what was a crazy group. We saw them running the Caustic in their games, getting some nice turtle positioning. Unfortunately, not getting wins, but getting very far in some games. TSS, another squad. It's nice to see that these teams have made it through the early skirmishes. We're definitely going to get to see the leaderboard switch up. Show your support for wherever team you'd like to see in those top 10 spots. As we get into these money games, getting deep into the money games now, as the second game, the second circle, 34 seconds from being closing on these competitors for the day. TSS trying to get rotate into the circle, but they're finding a nice angle on the fight there.
I don't believe he moved.
He said, I choose death.
Just feel like he had nowhere to go, really. We have another fight happening here again. Just trying to move in and out of that bubble to block a couple of shots. Did not work out for him. TSS posted up and ready for these last 12 squads as the circle continues to get very, very thin. See indoors once again, Caustic getting set up. Elevate GG. There's only 2 members left. Complexity, all 3 on deck. They've got the vision, they got the speed, they've got the support. Everything they need.
Locked and loaded, ready to get into what is a round 2 closing. 1 minute till that circle is closed. A lot of teams have a lot of ground to cover, so we're going to get to see crazy firefights that kind of trail off into these kiting situations. Teams that are running the Wraith will have a better time, hopefully following something that she sets up, but you start to lose your health as that circle ticks off. So if the shields get dropped, Farm Boys, we see they have plenty of shields, but those health bars are gonna start ticking. If they come out of the circle taking gunfire, you're not going to have time to medkit, to syringe, to get any of those things back that you're looking for. All those resources are going to become null and obsolete that you're hoping to use once you get out. And you see, just like I'm talking about, Xset getting fired upon by Complexity as both teams are chasing the circle.
Interesting decision there. You saw him choosing to take a little bit more storm damage to get into a better position to take shots on the opponents at the end of the hall. On one hand, you couldn't have gotten there without some strong difficulty ahead. The bounce pad of boost chaining things. Are we playing Apex Legends or are we playing Mirror's Edge? excellent parkour work there to get into the high ground position. Nice and far away. Complexity survives that brutal gauntlet of a run to get into good position and have the nerve to then turn around and start immediately engaging with another team from a mile away.
Complexity is showing great foresight here. They had to approach to the circle going west. They were able to remember that they have squads also approaching from other sides of the circle. Look north and start gunning down a team to make sure that they don't get checked, that they're not in any disadvantageous situation as they try to continue to clean up Exet, whom they've already started to pick off. I believe Exet is now in the circle, but Complexity is trying to make this very difficult for them to stay here.
As he trying to get some angles there, once again comes down. He's thinking somebody that jumps over him, but unfortunately gets snuck up on, but he manages to win the engage. Complexity stays on their feet. The Gibraltar bubble is up. 11 squads left here.
Yeah, that was L&D they actually were able to get in that skirmish, so legends never die, unfortunately taking the brunt of what was amazing Complexity rotational gameplay. And even though Monsoon went really deep, great movement we saw there, making it so difficult to hit that small hitbox.
Look at the replay of him coming down, so he goes over his head to try and get the sneak kill, but unfortunately just doesn't have the sustain to live through all of it. This has been great to watch in action. Complexity looking like they might be the ones to beat in the team game ahead, because it's absolutely looking to be pretty well-stocked final 10 squads. We're seeing a lot of people with all three on deck, so they are definitely going to be some full team fights in our future.
Mr. Hakulo, another noteworthy Octane player in this tournament. Very highlightable. I remember him going through Guns A-Blazing, emptying out his Eva, and then switching over to that flatline off the hip to clear out the rest of the squad inside of this really memorable moment yesterday. It's good to see them getting so far 10 squads left, and they're not looking the most equipped on armor, but they are comfortable in their builds. See that R4 and the Eva on Mr. Hakulo, that carry champ, and with the information he's going to get from his Bloodhound, with that tanky ability he's going to get from his Gibraltar, they're going to be able to get into these closing circles with their nice positioning they already have and nice high ground. They're going to be able to move very quickly and do a lot of damage as they do rotation.
Quickly indeed. We see Rubs well posted up here. On distance. Bow and arrow work there, nailing some big hits from afar with Revenant. U.S. Army Esports still in this. I see a lot of love for him in the chat. If you're hoping to see more of this team here, we are getting ready for the engage. Death totem is dropped, and they are engaging hard, pushing up. A lot of heat faced along the way, and they're knocked back, and unfortunately that Revenant is now on the back foot with only a fraction of his health left, and the rest of the team is taking some damage as well. Complexity is coming down hard, it looks like.
They were definitely wishing for that to be a back to the drawing board moment, but it's more like back to the Gibraltar bubble and hopefully getting some health as we get hellfire rained upon us from all angles. I believe this is Complexity approaching on them now, fully getting the angle above them. They had such a valiant front, but the monster that is Complexity clean up the kills now. I believe 8 on their main member of their squad. Mad Dogs, another contender looking to try to get into that first place spot, going to be looking to get into a fight soon, it seems, too. TSS just trying to get their Gibraltar, their main tank, back in, finding some opposition at the door.
Finding some difficulty, not being allowed back in. They're really insistent. They're not interested in any Girl Scout cookies. They're not looking to buy her this season, but they're going to be invaded regardless. A lot of firefights happening all around. The question isn't whether or not you're going to get into a fight here. It's who you're going to fight and how many people you're going to have to engage with at the same time.
That Peacekeeper was checking the team too hard. They knew, whoa, we need to back up. His Watson is popping off on us with the ability just to hold that door by himself. 3 members of the team. He also was able to get some counter fire from across the ravine there. Oh, getting a nice flank here as well. Able to get into the building, pop the shield bat as well, blocking up the door, and gets the coverage from Blur Favors. Such a smooth skirmish coming out from TSS to continue to secure higher placement in this BR.
Wonderful work here, TSS, getting some regrouping, some healing down. Meanwhile, we are mid-air with the Valkyrie, using that ult to get an extra drop here, and they'll have vision on the way down to the key point, which which will help out with their Bloodhound currently being down and out for the count, unfortunately. Complexity still alive, still surviving, and still a very lethal threat in our final 7 squads.
Very lethal threat indeed. We see it's so lethal it even makes us have to take a break real quick just to respawn some of the animations because people are popping off. There is fire going off across the map. Everybody is looking to get into this round 4 circle, and from here it becomes very important that you watch your spacing, that you are checking where you are leaving out of the doors from, because there is no space as we get into this 5th circle for you to have an error. Some people even have to rotate now if you were sitting in the southwest spot of that last circle. So good luck to you rotating in on these teams that already have a nice positioning like Complexity.
Difficult though it may be, they're making it happen. A quite literal firefight happening in that last location. We also have Bruvs keeping their gain going. Dark Matter Black further out there, also getting a very tight angle peek there behind those doors, through that open doorway, to try and spot anybody. They're on the edge of the storm, mere steps away from it there. It's only a matter of time now, looking for somebody to come through. Meanwhile, the real action's going down with Complexity. Stuck beneath the bridge here. Not a lot of ways up that won't leave them very exposed. But their opponents have the high ground. Another thing we talked about pretty extensively last match.
It literally is the scene of the high ground.
This is actually that scene, bro. Oh God, which one is that?
It's gonna be. It has to be Mad Dogs that approaches from the high ground, right?
It has to be.
It's going to. It's the only way to make this narrative complete. Them one mano-y-mano in this situation, checking each other, maybe even doing a little bit of some crouch dancing to send the message. We can narrate it there. Anakin, you cannot win.
You underestimate my power. I'm definitely not underestimating any of these folks. They have been wild so far. How are there 6 squads left? How is there 6 squads worth of room on the map right now?
There is not room at all. We're gonna have to see somebody falling off very shortly. TSS is going
through, taking they're taking a little bit of damage up top. I won't say a lot, but certainly they took some hits on the way in. Are popping up? They're gonna take a lot of hits there. Bloodhound trying to go after them. Who's gonna win that exchange? And they're both going to go down. Very quick succession here, but Bruvs still has everybody up as the Gibraltar is able to get a quick revive, pop that bubble, and now they're back in the fight. They just won't stay down. I see it in the chat. It's over, Anakin. It's over, and yet there are 5 squads left. Our final round turning down. We are about to see the final squeeze on this already intense situation. I don't know how much more pressure this game can take.
Complexity seems to be very comfortable, and it's actually Farm Boys who have now found the area above them. Even a more better villain to be the ones that are approaching them from the high ground in this scenario. The people who are looking to get a back-to-back champion screen in these initial bouts between the squads, they would definitely overtake Mad Dogs if they were able to do that, even though Mad Dogs does have an insane amount of pressure so far. Complexity has taken a lot of the kills, so there's a lot of room still for these standings to get all types of jumbled up at the top, depending on what happens here.
Complexity curves around there once again. We have that mission going out. Caution indeed, as we see our players continuing to. Farm Boys is not giving up that high ground position for anything, and that is the correct choice. You do not leave that spot.
Farm Boys throwing out the Bloodhound scan, seeing 9 enemies in front of them, having no knowledge of the 9 competitors. That's literally all of them if you can count themselves. I think they might be missing 1 person of that, but in general that scan basically catches everybody that's in the map. They know that there is not much space, as we've mentioned so many times before. We see the pin drop circle is going to be looking literally in the epicenter of what this 5th circle was, and it's going to be closing in shortly. As we see, everything is getting closer. These teams are getting hot. Any mistake in positioning, any misrotation, early fire at the gun can be the last of your tournament run for this game.
This is no time left. It all comes down to this final engagement here. Complexity, Farm Boys, 4 squads left, somehow 3 as one is down and out. Someone already taken care of. These last few fights going through quick, folks. Farm Boys falling down once again. They've got the bounce pad beneath, helping with some angles. But that's one person down again. Farm Boys is 1 man strong. Mad Dog still in this with 2 team members. Oh, we got a Bloodhound. We've got Gibraltar. Vision still active. Somebody's in the story. Has to peek in to get him. Diving through to take him down. It's going to be Mad Dogs making a big-time comeback here as they secure the win in our second game. It's over, Anakin.
Is this fan service? Did we just get exactly
yes,
what
we asked, Mad Dogs delivered.
Oh my God. Are they cued into the broadcast? What is this? There's so much poetic justice.
It was beautiful. It was picturesque. You couldn't plan it better than that. And I just want to give a quick moment to, and all the excitement we have here to discuss, to the audio team, I'm sorry. Now that that's out of the way, we can talk about how wild that game overall was. Take a look at some of these highlights, folks.
Complexity with the early press and getting some really nice opportunities out of the team so far. They saw that they feel very comfortable early game. They feel very comfortable mid game, even late game. No matter where they are, they're going to get a high place today from what we've seen, but unfortunately not able to edge out any wins yet. TSS had valiant efforts throughout, but they were unfortunately the fallen prey of Mad Dogs later on. So many teams fell by the hands of Mad Dogs in this bout who were ultimately able to even run away with the win, but we saw them just find really great positionings as well as we got into those final circles, the final moments of that 6th close. Things were just getting crazy. TSS, I remember checking Watson, checking everybody at the door with this peacekeeper, just making sure everybody was staying back as they were getting in on that 4th circle. But unfortunately, the Blur Favors and Watson hype train were shut down here. I believe that was by Complexity. Monsoon just so devastating in his approaches. Bruvs, we saw them get a nice deep tournament run this time. They've been stunted short a few times so far, but it was so exciting. We saw the final poetic justice we were talking about between Complexity and Mad Dogs come out.
And yet, look who's tied.
At the top.
Look who's tied at the top. Mad Dogs and Farm Boys tied with 44 points in a nice tall lead. Complexity not to be left out in 3rd at 32. This is quite the setup for our first 2 games.
Quite the setup. Things are heating up. I just can't imagine what tales are left to be told. We see a 3-way tie there for 4th. LND and Team FMS both sitting there with the 14 points. Bruvs, we mentioned earlier, and Dark Matter Black sitting there rounding out the top 10 teams. Things are heating up. We are only, a third of the way through of the rest of the drops that we have to come. So there's going to be a lot to come.
Certainly there are, with Trobros at 11 there as well. We got United Army Esports down in 12th. Lots of tie games with 13 to 15 being tied with Team Nestle, The Coercion, and Ellen Demons, alongside a 16th to 18th tie with Dentes, Bamboozled as always, Dark Matter White, and then finally bringing up the rear. What happened to Xset and Glock 9?
Xset warming up.
What happened to Xset though?
You haven't even seen their final form.
Apparently, the terrifying idea is that this isn't Farm Boy's final form, because it seems like they keep taking steps ahead. They're absolutely killing it here at the very start. And again, we have the simultaneous arguments of there's going to be wild stuff later on. That means you have to have the stamina to persevere. The teams that are doing hot at the start might face greater and greater difficulty as things ramp up. At the same time, though, one has to wonder, what can you do later in a match? What can you achieve? How much of a download can you get onto your opponents to really get a step ahead that you wouldn't have done in the first couple of games? It's not a question of it can't be done. It's really, what are those going to be? Because if we can spot those, if we can get some ideas in our head, we can have a pretty good idea of what these teams need to accomplish to make those turnarounds happen. And for teams like Xset, it seems like they're having a lot of trouble just in the early game, and I'm wondering what's the cause of that.
You just can't let the pacing of the set get away from you. And like you're saying, if they're able to adapt and identify what that early game game bug is that's keeping them from getting higher placements like they were able to achieve yesterday, then they will be able to do so because there's still 4 games left. That's why we're going to cut it to a quick break so that, like that we said, we can get that reset ourselves and keep that stamina we mentioned to continue to bring the heat as we continue through this $10,000 closed qualifier. So stick around, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you streaming on Trovo yet? We're welcoming streamers to become part of our exciting and supportive community, no matter how big or small. It's easy to use, has fun features, and is especially great for mobile gaming. Streamers can receive subscriptions, gifts from fans, and many more cash rewards. New Trovers can earn up to $380. Just use referral code Trovo Titans. That's TROVOTITANS in the Creator Studio to become a Trovo streamer. It's time to level up and start streaming on Trovo.
We're rewarding our community with coveted Titan points in North America, Latin America, and Europe. Titan points can turn into cash at the end of the Trovo Titan series. You can earn Titan points 3 ways. Join our Discord and hang out with the community. Your engagement will earn you automatic points. Play in our free-to-play online tournaments. The more you play, the more points you earn. If you place well in the tournament, you'll get bonus points too. Be part of the fun and earn Titan points today. We'll see you on the leaderboards. Visit trovotitans.live/titanpoints for more info. Looking to be the next great Trovo caster? Apply today for the Trovo Titans Community Caster Program. We're looking for dedicated Trovers who want to boost their following by casting some of our community tournaments right from your own channel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Trovo Titans Closed Invitational. We're still in the running for that $10,000 cash prize. I'm still Austin Champion. This is still Caleb Browner. We're looking forward to what's going to happen in this third bout between these squads, but it has just been so exhilarating so far, Caleb. Have you enjoyed?
You know that I have, and anyone with headphones on knows that I have. And if you don't have headphones on, if you're playing through speakers, everyone down the block knows that I have enjoyed the games so far. And that's only going to be continuing because we've got some great narratives unfolding between our competitors. We've got some great moments that are really shaping our expectations for what is going to come through in this match. Already some upsets are going through. I don't want to call anybody here, don't want to say that anybody here didn't absolutely ball out in their groups yesterday here, but there are definitely some competitors that are setting new standards for what we can expect for them here today. We knew they were great, but they are showing out against some of the top-ranking people from both the groups here. And some of our top-ranking people are dealing with a lot more difficulty than we would have expected here. It's wild so far.
That's right. An insane bout is starting to build up, and we have them, of course, going for that cash prize, but they're also racking up the Titan points where they're able to get another access to another prize pool that's going on, $1,500. The leaderboard had just closed for that, but when you are looking forward to getting those Titan points, you're going to be doing things like hanging out in those Discord, being awesome, doing what we do best, in doing the interactive side. We're going to also do competitions, and you can get Titan points that way. You can find all the many events that they do at Trovo Titans Live, and if you are able to get on that leaderboard, we're going to get to that leaderboard that we're talking about that just closed soon. If you're able to get on that, you're going to be able to get your share of the prizes that are seeming to accumulate. The prize just gets bigger and bigger. Right now they're splitting $1,500. First place you see Cross, 34 points, is going to get the most of that prize pool. Scrim Hub Evil is going to be at 30 points. Life Sitting tied with the other people at third. Life Sly, Zellower, Beg, T-Rich, the Pierce J. All of them going to be sitting equally in that middle bracket, and then Toxic and Poxer, a Super Curb, are all going to be taking nice money home as well from that prize, just from being awesome and hanging out with us here at the Trovo Titans. So don't forget to find your way in on all of these events by going to Trovo Titans, both live, TrovoTitans.live, or following all of our socials there, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere. You can find us at Trovo Titans. Upcoming events, we have those Fortnite solos coming up, the Brawl Stars 3v3, and the very exciting Pokemon Unite 5v5. Every time I see it, I'm going to get excited. I cannot wait for that game. It's coming out very soon. It's free to start. So get your games loaded up so that you can get a chance at that $300 prize that's going to be coming to whoever is going to be able to solidify that. And we are also closing the active leaderboard of the Trovo Titans right now. This one's going to end September 30th. So you have plenty of time to rack up your points and get in on that. But the current standings of this event, this Apex Legends closed qualifier, it is heating up. Mad Dogs and Farm Boys having a great time, sitting very comfortably and pretty at possibly walking home with over $1,000 between the three of them. Right now, sitting comfortably at 44 points. Complexity coming in with a lot of cleanup duty, high kill numbers, and great placements at 32 points. TSS, CHR, Elevate, GG, rounding out the middle teams, all sitting at 17 points. LND, Legends Never Die, both in Team FMS, both sitting at 14 points. Bruvs and Dark Matter Black, both rounding out the top 10. So all of those people are in the money right now, but you cannot feel comfortable because you have Trobros, United States Army Esports, some crowd favorites in the chat sitting, lying in wait, Team Nestle, the Coercion, Ellen Demons, all sitting very contentious. You see they're all within a 3-point spread. You could easily surpass somebody with some nice kills, some nice cleanups, some nice elevation on the standings, playing safe. Dentheads, Bamboozled as only, Dark Matter White, both sitting there in contention as well, not far off from Trobros, only 3 points away from Trobros. Xset, a team you mentioned not doing too hot, maybe faltering to your expectations of them today, sitting at 8 points and now not tied for last with Glock 9, who are sitting at their lone self 6 points last place, but still able to possibly change up the standings as we get into this third game.
There's a lot of possibilities here for everybody still on the board, folks. There's so many games left that we could see somebody in dead last come through into one of our top-ranking spots. But I just want to stress again that seeing Exet in their current position, if you didn't get to see them in last game, for reference, it would be like if Mad Dogs right now suddenly found themselves in last. It's shocking, but that leads me to believe that there have been some errors on the inbounding play here. The start for Exet, I really feel like, is the issue here. And as a result, we might see, I'm expecting, in fact, to see a sharp uptick in terms of performance, in terms of point gain per match. They can avoid getting a lot of intense activity here at the very start. And yet, we're starting off once again with somebody in range to fight with them. Having to kick things off with a fight, no doubt, is tempering a bit their beginnings. They're scrambling, getting mobilized, getting into position to launch their counterattack here, as it seems like they're getting into a fight with Trovo.
To quote a man wiser than me, for Exet to accept their exit of this exact game this early would not be what they're looking for, as they're not feeling too comfortable so far with the early drops they've had. They're able to stabilize at least for a moment. Trobro's relenting on some pressure, maybe looking forward to try to get some of the loot that lies in that building. That's more of a prize than an early kill on Exet. We will see you later. We have sent our message. We've tagged your face.
You are known to us. You were hunted. As Trobos keeps up their good work here. Hovering the door, getting ready for a good old-fashioned breach and clear. Meanwhile, further out, we got Mad Dogs, current top dogs for the match, getting set up as well. We can see they've taken a little bit of heat. With 19 squads left, I presume they won. But who knows? We might not have had ourselves a full engagement. There's a lot of skirmishing going on early game with this group, and I expect that's going to continue as the day stretches on ahead. Maybe we'll get more intense, more brutal as things progress. Maybe not. Maybe this ebb and flow, this period of the tides coming in and out when it comes to the amount of struggle out there, will persist. I certainly believe it's going to be the latter, given how precautious all these teams are, and like my co-host has mentioned, how much pressure there is with us being so close to those cash payouts.
So close indeed, and these teams so close in skill. I feel that so many of these teams are being met with equal pressure, but there are those that are standing above. Elevate GG are standing above their opposition in this gunfight, have a great advantage on the terrain, using that topography of this map to try to get a nice advancement as well. They're flying in on the Octane. They know that they have the advantage with the shields that they've dropped, trying to get in there, but maybe choosing a bad fight. It seems like they're not fully committing and getting some retaliation fire that is rocking a lot of people's health very low, but they have gotten one knock. Door getting closed in people's faces.
And that looks like another team eaten, unfortunately. Elevate GG managing to survive the encounter, get their only down teammate back on his feet, and they are right back in the game. Get a chance to heal up, get those shield bats popped. Get this prepared for the next engagement. That was a wild one, but we still have 18 squads left. It's still the early stages of our match.
And it seems they're looting Twitch TV Hambino there, so I believe that's Team CHR dropping there by the hands of Elevate GG, so they're going to have to go back to the drawing board on that one. That's a huge loss to take in this third game. You're only losing ground on increasing your place in the standings, and just like that, they're going to not get many points at all in this game.
The coercion, monitoring the distance a little bit, going to utilize that jump pad in full effect to do some serious clearing of space. Just doing what they do best, keeping themselves tight-knit, eyes on the prize, working on that rotation. Another calm before, yet another storm yet to come inevitably, as Mad Dogs is also in position to once again do some area clearing. And once again, they're taking fire on the way in. Team up ahead. It's time for us to get into a good old-fashioned shootout once more.
Mad Dog's not in the most comfortable place as they try to approach this fight. They don't have the most gear on them, but they do have I'm Madness looking ready to go. has that R99, has the Ava as well. So if he gets close to someone, he's going to be explosive. This range is not what he's looking for, but seems to control the recoil very well. It's not going to do the optimal damage, though, at that distance, and that's why we see him now getting closer, using that Octane burst of speed to try to close in, starting to hunt down his targets, but a big disengagement from the enemy squad. Left fruitless with that first advance, and honestly starting to get rained down now by the Gibraltar ultimate.
King over there getting some good looks. Trovo's ready to advance, but doing so precautiously as possible. Getting a little bit of pickup happening here. You never can have too many health items, especially with them about to be getting into an engagement on the other side of things here, likely with Mad Dogs if my spatial tracking is accurate here. But that circle is also on its way in.
Let's go over here.
See Mad Dogs inside, doing some clearing of their own, picking up a few key things. We got the med kit, we've got the shield bats, we've got ourselves a good setup to recover after the inevitable engagement ahead, but they've also got to get out of here sometime soon. The storm isn't approaching too fast, still being very early on, but they have to be mindful of it regardless.
Definitely something you can fall prey to, starting to get too loot focused or skirmish focused, but before I can even say to that, I'm Madness taking an insane amount of fire from, I believe that's Trobros that were in the closest proximity to them, calling out a very aggressive rotation from Mad Dogs and possibly popping CLG I'm Madness, but it's not going to be able to do so yet. We do see the close quarters fight happening now. See if they're able to do it. I'm Madness getting dropped. We'll see if Noth and Cody are able to do anything with this situation that's transpired so far, but getting a nice job. Seems like Paulus is so far dropped. 60 ping rip is gone, and Mad Dogs just like that able to stabilize the fight even after losing. I'm Madness probably going to get the res, but the circle is closing.
This is a difficult endeavor here as we are doing ourselves some scrapping deep in the storm. Meanwhile, XSET has managed to survive. There are 17 teams left, and they have managed to get through their early game period. While the time may be going by, there's still plenty of teams out there. Most of the competition still on their feet. Mad Dogs is not one of them, as they are taking a lot of heat here. Legends never die, getting some offense out there still. Inside of the storm, Mad Dogs has 2 team members down. We got 1 person left on their feet. We've got a Bangalore out here for Legend Never Die to round out the squad alongside Octane and Bloodhound. Our 2 teams both need to get actually into the storm, and yet they are circling it with the zip line here. Not quite headed straight there. It gets up top and goes to the dive.
CHR have dropped. Mad Dogs on the ropes. Complexity out of sight. Elevate comfortable. This is shaping up to be a nice toss-up of that top of the bracket. We see a lot of the top people now getting very early eliminations. We knew that a lot of people were also tied in the middle, so we were definitely going to see the leaderboard switch up after this 3rd game. It's shaping up to be a great narrative. I see now somebody was dropped. I'm not sure who it was, but another squad is dropped. We'll have to see who it was as we see Elevate starting to reposition around that southern side of the circle. They want to be headed east, it looks like, to maybe get a cue on where the circle will be. Look for maybe some recon opportunities with this Bloodhound.
What does Elevate GG do here? A little bit more clearing, it looks like. No enemies in the immediate side. Meanwhile, we cut off the complexity. We can see them engrossed in combat once more, right on the edge of the storm. They're getting into a firefight. Trying to get the flanking advantage on the enemy, but there's a Gibraltar in there as well. Gibraltar's everywhere. Actually comes out to face him. Going to get hit immediately, and unfortunately, Gibraltar goes down. Complexity down a member now, and is their defense. That could be a tough spot for them. But right back up, only to go right back down. Oh no, didn't complete the revive. And now the Octane is down as well. Bloodhound, the only one left, and it looks like he's facing a full team potentially. 3 members all up, clearing out the field.
Team Coercion, I believe, get the squad wipe on Complexity. All of our top dogs dropping early in this 3rd game. Huge adaptations coming out from the bottom squads.
This is huge, folks. We are seeing a major upheaval, and I'm living for it. I thrive on chaos, so this is exactly the kind of situation that I was looking forward to, and it's a great opportunity for anybody out there who saw their favorite teams occupying some of the lower ranks. This means not only is there points on the board for some of our other competitors, but it also means there's a chance to stop the gain for our leading folks. Again, if you can be up by 20, but if your person in top rank, top 2, also go up by 20, you haven't really gone anywhere now, have you? It is not enough that you must win, your enemy must lose.
We saw in that highlight there, Complexity seemed to have the nice defensive positioning on what was that approach by their fallen and their murderers. Unfortunately, they got squad wiped. That was so early. I just am still so thrown off by that. Great rotation by Team Coercion. They did an amazing job pressing that, having the backup they needed, even though it seemed that they might have maybe pressed too far at first, but catch Complexity off guard. And it seems that they've stabilized a little bit. Like Reptar is still here. iShiny's there. Doesn't seem like they've recovered that Monsoon banner yet, but they're still going to find a position in the ring.
Around Dark Matter White. Gets a few pickups. Senses no presences nearby. Has freedom to do some clearing. 15 squads still left. I don't know how. I don't know how we've seen as much bloodshed as we have, and there's 15 squads left, and yet here we are, and that circle is looking thin. I can see the curvature from here, and we are definitely looking at a game that's going to be in extremely close quarters very, very soon. And with this many teams and this wild an assortment of teams, I have no idea what our final few fights are going to look like. But it looks like one fight might be getting prepared to happen here. Dark Matter White has eyes on somebody down there, but they're locked up tight. It's going to be the Coercion, it looks like, hunkered down and ready for a defensive position.
The Coercion really coming alive here on day 2. Went from the caustic turtling to get through the qualifiers into this very skirmish-heavy team that has shown that they can gunfight with the best so far. So we'll see what they do as Dark Matter White look to get the high ground and find an opening on this building that they're holding down.
Taking a look out, got a long range bit of vision there. Can spot somebody. The Coercion, deep underground. Coming through the sewers like the Ninja Turtles, ready for a pop-up engagement. Meanwhile, further out, Complexity is outside of the storm once again. Trying to come through, but getting heat on the way. That Octane is not looking good. Meanwhile, BAZ has 2 people standing. They're down Bloodhound again, but they've got the opportunity for the revive if they can get to a beacon. And they might not get to. The Wraith has to evac there, utilizing that ability to get out. That looks like Complexity's lost their Gibraltar. Exit still in this, but there's still 15 teams left. I still don't know how, but it may not be the case for very much longer. Once again, we're seeing us, the Allfather, come through. Somebody's getting vision.
This is shaping up to be a death tunnel here. So many teams rotating through this cavern. So many teams trying to hold down their spot. Xset seem to be in a great position to clean up a lot of the teams that are out of rotation. Already now cleaning up these kills on Link, killing Ra's al Ghul, trying to get some of these cleanup kills around the edge of the fight. The Coercion Premolition, though, able to survive for now. Xset now feeling very comfortable going into this circle number 2. Circle number 3 now.
It's absolutely wild, but Xset is still standing. This is going to be quite the gauntlet. There's only so much physical space all these teams can occupy and still be unseen. So very, very soon we're going to be dealing with some folks that have the absolute eyes on everyone. That Eyes of the Allfather is going to be registering some pretty high numbers of hostiles in this next circle shrink.
Dakota feeling very comfortable with the Bosic bow, trying to shred down his opposition there, trying to just get a rotation down, but just like that, they have to turn their focus. Multiple parties now being involved in every engagement that we see across the map.
Oh no, someone drops down! No, we're seeing that shot come through from distance. Revenant takes a few steps just a little bit too far to the right there, unfortunately. US Army Esports now down a member. Mad Dogs, meanwhile, also being engaged with. Nobody down yet, but we're seeing these long-range engagements. But the range isn't all that long, honestly. There's no room left in the circle for anybody to really get behind long amounts of distance and be safe that way. Meanwhile, US Army Esports is preventing somebody from coming down that pass and actually getting through. At least they were. They managed to get the run up. A little bit too much pressure. They're falling back and trying to, again, keep that team pressured, take them down before they can get into open space. But it's not working out for them as they are down Revenant. Gibraltar taking a lot of damage there. Octane trying his best to keep these peaks active. But that team back there doesn't have the time to heal.
They don't have the time to heal, and Namito is playing this very well, even though the health bars are low. Looking for a very aggressive jump pad. Knowing that they had to press that before the circle made it that they were going to also be in danger. Knowing that their health bars were very low, and unfortunately getting turtled out in that situation.
It's Dentheads who have survived their encounter in the canyon, but they're now being fired on again, and the Bloodhound goes down as a whole nother team comes through while they're trying to heal to finish them off, unfortunately. We got Octane venturing further ahead. Godspeed to you, but there's just not a lot they can do back there. Meanwhile, Mad Dog still up, still active, getting their team recouped, reconstituted for yet another push. Doing their best to find any tight spots they can fit into to just have a moment to up their shields, up their health. Something that's going to be a very limited resource in these next few moments.
But even these edges are being tested. We see them having to put some retaliation fire into the air. We see squads over there to the northern side of the circle, more squads rotating in. Mad Dogs are well equipped from what was a crazy early hectic early game coming out. They did lose some members, but they were able to recoup, stabilize, just like we saw Complexity, and we see the grit of these top squads. Even though they lose some members, they're able to recoup and get still very deep runs in these bouts.
Get the ability to boost and jump there. He's diving into the action, but now another jump as he slides through the storm just to get that angle. Certainly gets him a couple of hits, but he is stuck on a corner there. Risky move, takes a little bit of damage, perhaps more so than he'd hoped for. But he's not doing too bad. Certainly up enough to continue engaging in this firefight. But keep in mind, they are exposed and drawing attention to themselves here with every shot they take. So not only do they have to push up, they have to keep their heads on a swivel, because look at that. Somebody else coming up along the left side there. Over to southwest. They're coming through.
Able to get the full medkit off on Noth. That is huge. That gun shield and all the utility that Gibraltar offers makes a small health bar on his teammates last for so long. Elevate having amazing positioning as we reach 6 squads left. They do still have to rotate in towards the circle. It's going to be only a minute and 10 seconds before that starts getting very difficult to do. But just like that, they're also getting rained upon by a defensive opportunity from the enemy team that they're trying to engage upon. Team Nestle, though, unfortunately getting wiped out, as we see now Elevate GG are the new kill leaders. Scissors is going to be killing enough people on this Octane with those 5 kills to be sitting with the crown on his head.
Where are they going to go? Team TSS bearing down on has their backs against the wall. By the wall, I mean the storm. So they got to come forward at some point. TSS booking it, clearing distance quickly. They are trying to circle around to get into a good enough position to, again, pick off the people that are coming in from the sides and narrow the field here. We got 5 squads left, one of which is also going to be Elevate GG. We're getting to a firefight as we speak. The Gibraltar bubble goes up. Use that as cover as he advances. It looks like that team is 2 folks down. 4 squads left now. Another one bites the dust. Dark Matter White, however, is going to get the look on them from far behind some degree of cover, but taking immediate heat every time he goes to the peak. The Gibraltar ult is going off somewhere else in the distance. It's absolute chaos, and we're down to 4 squads.
Dark Matter White finding their footing in this third game, getting a very deep run. 4 squads left, like you mentioned, and there are 12 people in the game, so everybody's fully equipped. Everybody's ready to be at full power. It now just depends on who feels the most comfortable in the positioning. We're going to see that the circle is shown for this round 5 that's closing now, but round 6. Round 6 will be the tried and true testament where we might only see 3 squads be there at that point, and maybe 2 squads with how things are opening up between TSS and Elevate GG, but we'll have to jump to that in a second because already people are dropping and just already we see Watson dropping Xset, Kane, Kenny already. Xset now probably being the 4th squad to have been eliminated.
It's crazy to see. As much as we have seen a lot here, we've talked about the upsets coming through. There are definitely quite a few upsets just in this final 3 here. We've got Dark Matter White on deck, persevering through to the very end, but taking a lot of fire there. We've got TSS. We've got an angle there. Somebody coming through once again, back against the Storm. He got good eyes on him, but he doesn't have quite the angle he needs to actually take a shot. Got ourselves a 3-way standoff here. Every team hiding just behind cover. Every team has eyes on the other. They know where they are, but they know they can't afford to dive in without taking damage. You go after one team, the other one's going to have visibility on you. You might go for the shot.
Well, with that timer, 3, 2, 1 on round 6, the pin drop of a circle is coming in. That circle closes very quick. You have to make a choice. Last stands coming in, so you have to now virtually expose yourself in those positions. Your back to the Storm is not where you want to be. You'd rather be on the offensive.
Out there, see the Gibraltar bubble going up to provide some much needed cover. They can move out a bit. Dodging a couple of bullets mid-air, but someone trying to go for the loot, unfortunately, is going to go down for it. They must have needed it bad because they are going to take the loss. Team is trying to recover what they lost. Sliding by, still going to take some hits on the way there. Whittling down the most precious resource of all, aside from time on the clock, their health bars, with very little opportunity to recover. Even if they have healing items, when are you going to use them with a circle this narrow with the teams bearing down on you?
My man's was down bad for the loot, trying to get into the chest, couldn't unfortunately get an advantage from it. Takes a fatal blow, an arrow to the knee, just like that drops and gets an unfortunate loss of positioning for his team. There's going to be now 3 squads there, but 8 people because you know that punish that came in, so you're going to be possibly having to play a little safer than you intended as this pin drop closes in, but 43 seconds until that is going to be the biggest problem. But you see now how much space is left. We're already seeing the final fight coming out.
Lots of aggression there, and unfortunately leads to someone's demise. A final few moments here as we are diving in and out of the Storm, trying to make this fight happen, and it's going to be TSS surviving with the final 3 members, all teammates still standing. Oh my goodness. TSS not doing too bad in the rankings already, but certainly it is a surprise and a welcome one to see them managing to surmount the likes of some of our industry's best yet again. Coming out on top against Mad Dogs, against Farm Boys, against Xset, against anybody else that we could possibly think of in that match. In general, our top 5 or 6, it felt like, were a huge upheaval, and I can't wait to see these standings.
It felt like a lot of the bigger fish that have established dominance so far in the tournament were out relatively early in that last game, and we saw that middle of the pack get moments to rise. Mad Dogs, a team that we mentioned as being one of those big fish that were out early, just couldn't really find their footing in this game. They were finding a lot of early fire. I remember them trying to, unfortunately, get out of some engagements that they just were getting hunted down by, which, you know, in their case, they just have to go to the drawing board and remember the things that worked for them. Complexity, another team that just got fully coerced on by Team Coercion. They had a great approach on them in this clip here and were able to get a lot of pressure off. There wasn't, you know, a moment for them to breathe as they thought that maybe they had gotten the nice defensive stance in the situation. It just turned out not to be so. So there was a lot of call-outs on rotation in this last game. I've seen that a lot of people just that were choosing aggressive pathings were unfortunately getting called out and getting mowed down.
It was crazy seeing moments like these where you could tell it was a last stand kind of a situation and it just did not work out, unfortunately. But those are the risks you kind of have to take. Look at this. This could have easily gone so terribly for Elevate GG, but it also could have gone so well. They could have gotten the angles on that just a bit too high above the bubble, unfortunately, to get some really great aerial shots. And it leads to this Mad Dogs still secure in their position up top. Farm Boys still close at hand. Complexity close behind that, but now TSS joining them. The slope, you can say, from the top rank to the lower ranks are now is now much smoother.
Absolutely, the slope, and you see a lot of the names that we were mentioning in the third and fourth, fifth places now starting to go down. Elevate was, I believe, in third after the last game, now sliding to fifth. CHR, one of the most noteworthy teams that were more towards the top, I think either in fourth or fifth, now sitting at 10th. So you have to remember your strengths. You have to not let a game like that phase you. You have to continue playing to your strengths if you want to have that success you saw early. But we're seeing teams find their grooves now. Denthead's team to mention finding their grooves, had great fights in that last game. US Army Esports also looking cracked. They were getting some great skirmishes, but unfortunately just not getting the best placement. A lot of third-party opportunities. I believe it was Denthead's that came in on them in that choke, that they were able to get a very great octane jump pad and use that movement of that to wipe the squad. Dark Matter, White and Black fighting for that 12th place spot. You see them tied up as well with Xset, who was making you upset, but not anymore. We see them having gone from 19th all the way up to 11th, so a huge change in momentum for their gameplay. Glock 9 still unfortunately sitting at that 20th place by themselves, but we see now more and more teams rising to the occasion, getting better placements, feeling comfortable in this tournament setting, even though the stakes are high and the competition is in full gear. These squads are just absolutely insane. The plays that are coming out, edge of your seat gameplay.
Absolutely. We are in the thick of it, folks. Now on to our next game. We're going to be keeping a close eye out, knowing that it is truly still anybody's game. Our competitors building a hefty point lead allows them to stay ahead. They're definitely still in those first places, even going out a little bit earlier than expected. They still gained some points, so they're still keeping their heads above water, but now they are absolutely within range of having their leading positions be sniped by somebody else. One way or another, our top three are not going to look the same by the time we get to the end of this match. At least that's my prediction.
Well, you would not be wrong to predict that, and we'll get to see what happens as we get into Game 4 very shortly. We're going to cut it to the shortest of breaks because, like you say, we're at the edge of our seats waiting to see what happens. We need to know what happens at the top of the leaderboards. Please. So we'll be very quick with our break, and we'll be right back. See you shortly.
Are you streaming on Trovo yet? We're welcoming streamers to become part of our exciting and supportive community, no matter how big or small. It's easy to use, has fun features, and is especially great for mobile gaming. Streamers can receive subscriptions, gifts from fans, and many more cash rewards. New Trovers can earn up to $380. Just use referral code Trovo Titans. That's TROVOTITANS in the Creator Studio to become a Trovo streamer. It's time to level up and start streaming on Trovo.
We're rewarding our community with coveted Titan points in North America, Latin America, and Europe. Titan points can turn into cash at the end of the Trovo Titan series. You can earn Titan points 3 ways. Join our Discord and hang out with the community. Your engagement will earn you automatic points. Play in our free-to-play online tournaments. The more you play, the more points you earn. If you place well in the tournament, you'll get bonus points too. Be part of the fun and earn Titan points today. We'll see you on the leaderboards. Visit trovotitans.live/titanpoints for more info. Looking to be the next great Trovo caster? Apply today for the Trovo Titans Community Caster Program. We're looking for dedicated Trovers who want to boost their following by casting some of our community tournaments right from your own channel.
And welcome back, folks. Here we are ready to dive into our next set of games. This has been already one of the most spectacular tournaments that I've ever had the pleasure of visiting, let alone getting to gas, and I'm so hyped to see how things turn out from here. I am Caleb once again, and my co-host, Austin Champ, is in the building with me to help keep me sane through the wild events we're no doubt about to dive into. Austin, will you be the anchor to my excitement?
That's a lot to put on me, man. I don't even know if I'm going to stay sane. I'm getting crazy. The Apex that we have seen thus far has been exhilarating. It has been competitive. It has been aggressive. We've seen some amazing highlights so far. I was already seeing some of the highlights getting posted on those Trovo Titans socials. So a lot of cool stuff coming out. But I'm really looking forward to the second half because as we look at the leaderboard, there's still a lot of room for teams that maybe haven't been doing as well as they might have hoped coming into the day thus far, or maybe placing in the top, which might have not even been their goal, maybe just to have placed well. They still have that chance. They still have a lot of opportunity. We see, of course, our top two teams, Mad Dogs, Farm Boys. They didn't have the strongest game last time, but their strength and resilience in the first two games were what were able to make them have such a strong lead still. So we see Complexity, TSS, and Elevate GG starting to rise up. Team Nestle, unfortunately, falling off a little bit. LND just being a consistent team, I feel like, even though they might not have been like a team that we watch at every time at the end circle, they are always having a very deep run, at least being in the top 10 squads. So we see them in the top 10 here.
It's wild to look at in action here. We can see that the point disparities have leveled out, as we mentioned before the break, keeping our entirety of our roster some greater opportunities, especially with plenty of games ahead to work through. We have seen, though, that even our competitors in the top, even when they have a bad game, they're still sitting on a treasure trove of points. So our earners in the back end are still going to have to really go in guns blazing, really push forward, but it is still anybody's game. All that money is still up for grabs, and we might see some fan favorites that may not be doing the best currently come ahead in a big way in these next couple of matches, especially with fan favorite teams from the earlier day facing more opposition than expected and actually finishing relatively early on.
Just as fast as these point disparities have been made on these teams in the bottom of the bracket, they can make up for that in the games that we have left. There's the same amount of games that got them to this point left to play. So 3 games left to go. TSS looking to solidify a dominant run in what was established in the last game. Continue going off that momentum and getting a nice early drop. Looking for some nice loot. We see that they got into Hammond Labs.
Here we get started with our first couple of clears and our first couple of engagements. Apparently, Elite GG already taking somebody out of the game and off of this earth. How quickly can one team drop? We are down to 19 squads. Whoever that was, they are out of here.
Very tough to get dropped on like that and not be able to find the tools you need to counter that engagement. Unfortunately, squad already dropping in the first moments of this match 4. Definitely going to be having time to solidify their comms though, work on comps, look at what went wrong in that drop. They've played together multiple times, but every instance that you lose in, every fight that you lose in is time that you can go back and learn upon. Is going to just grow your game more and more. So Elevate feeling comfortable winning in that fight, and now we see Complexity without much loot, without much farm on the armor side to be able to get into much of an engagement. Still feeling comfortable to engage because it looks like multiple squads are here. Monsoon approaching, Highlight Maker, don't want him coming at you guns a-blazing.
Complexity on their last leg here, but still holding on, somehow managing to still survive and get the revives up. They're not out of this just yet, but they're in dire straits. And with the kind of intensity we've been seeing over the course of just these first few moments, even with 17 squads left, even with most of the game still ahead of us, it seems like we are due for a fierce start. They may not make it beyond these next few moments unless they play excellently. Fortunately, we've seen plenty of excellent plays from Complexity thus far. Long-term viewers are going to no doubt have the confidence in them to come ahead, but it's not as if the other teams involved here haven't also been putting up some incredible games today alone, not to mention our last day. I'm starting to see how many of our top competitors from earlier on could have managed to end up getting dropped in the first few moments of today's games with the kinds of plays we have seen here.
Absolutely. There's so much movement going on. It's easy to get called out, and Complexity able to salvage a foothold from a crazy situation there. Nice skirmish win that leads to them being able to loot that. We now just go straight over to Brubs in a crazy engage. It looks like with Xset looking to continue what was a very dominant and solid performance in that last game. Already getting the scan on this Bloodhound. Kenny looking for his opposition. It looks like he's getting the flank as Rambo and Klain tried to take the other side, but Brubs have retreated all the way up the tower. They're going to have some ground to make up. They've now met. They're meeting with gunfire. Not sure who takes the first hit. As they fight, it also seems that the Trovos are in a fight across map. Brubs able to somewhat get some kiting potential out of Mr. Hakulo, but in general, they're getting called out. They're getting found by Xset, who now feel very comfortable. They won the skirmish that's going to solidify a stronghold in this game 4, and they can feel that they've done what they need to do, made the adjustments that they made in game 3, and are still playing to their strengths now here in game 4. Just like that flash to Farm Boys, who are also in a bout as well. Looks like some fire that they're exchanging, not necessarily taking. Everybody's very topped off and healthy. They're just trying to catch some of these teams that are out of rotation.
Distance is key here. They've got that excellent range. Once again, seeing shots coming from a mile away here, but nice in these early stages. They have the advantage of being capable of being far enough away that getting shots to land actually is a difficult endeavor. But Farm Boys is not too daunted by the fact that somebody has eyes on them, is trying to go for these distance shots. There's plenty of cover between them and those particular opponents, but again, who knows who's lurking nearby. A little time to be too concerned about that, though. They've got some loot to gather, and we got ourselves a ride. They can clear some distance and quick. Draws a lot of attention, but clears a lot of distance. Once again, there comes that attention. He coming in from behind, but they are out of here with few worries.
Bamboozled as always, seeming to be one of the only teams so far to use vehicles, and you see how that damage spreads across the legends there. So it is risky, but that movement and what we're talking about, a lot of teams getting called out and actually getting eliminated for poor positioning, they were able to evade what possibly could have been a deadly flank attack from the enemy team. So they did take some damage. They healed it up. They get to rotate towards the circle, and that is going to be crucial in sustaining what has already been 5 squads falling off in this game. So round 1 hasn't even finished closing yet. And very increased pace here in game 4. Everybody's feeling skirmishy after the break. They got a little bit of time to be away from each other, and now they're out for blood. They smell the blood in the water.
Absolutely. And like we mentioned, everybody has the awareness that with the players being just as aware of these standings as we are, that this is still anybody's game, and those who may have been feeling a little disheartened by the beginning there now know that their opportunities are aplenty, and those up top are also a little bit more nervous perhaps in recognizing how easily they can fall in mere moments if they let themselves slack off even a bit. And yeah, how even operating 110%, the competition is absolutely as such they could still take losses here, even when they are operating smoothly.
Losses are inevitable in a game such as this, but how can you adapt? We've seen the teams that are able to adapt and still, even maybe losing a member in some of these exchanges, be resilient enough to pick up that banner, get to the recall, get to the ability to just get a deeper run and get a bit more loot on the team, take some of those resources off the map. But LN Demons in a straight mano-a-mano fight, a line of defense has been drawn, but they are unfortunately going to be at the hands of CHR in this bout, who are going to feel very comfortable now looting these bodies that were very well equipped.
Getting some great gear as a result. CHR, not a bad spot at all. Meanwhile, further out we see Dark Matter Black with vision on a couple of different spots here. Can see where their opponents are going. Those are not in trouble per se. That's not going to be an aggressive angle. For the time being, they're just trying to keep a sense of where that team is going. This is a stage where while they have a lot of range from their opponents, they don't have to worry about being snuck up on too often. This also means you never exactly know where the waves are headed, where the general crowds are going, which can help you out not only in terms of not getting flanked later on, but it also means you're able to tell what are good places to head next for that loot that you're going to need to pick up. If you already know a certain spot has been cleared out pretty thoroughly, best to just keep it moving on and not burn time going through an area that has already been picked clean.
Right, nothing's worse than just having used all your resources and coming upon scraps and pieces, nothing to pick up. So we see that finding the right call and finding the right position, choosing places that may not have been looted is going to be to your advantage. Mad Dog's here, looking behind them to see who might be rotating in from this choke point in the circle. Who can they possibly get some nice angles to kill? And they have no choice but to advance forward against them, but nobody in sight. Bamboozled, as always, sitting right next to this warp point. The vehicle, the heist vehicle that they stole, waiting there.
The getaway car.
Possibly use it as a defensive mechanism against Team Nestle, who are looking to pick them off to the side here. They see the team. They know that they have the opportunity to escape very quickly, but not going to be doing anything too risky, just holding down the spot, calculating out what they possibly want to do, and sending out some warning shots, it looks like, to the side. Scanning behind them, seeing that teams are approaching, so this is becoming riskier and riskier as time passes.
Once again, you know the enemy is there, and he gets an opportunity there. Takes a little bit heat in exchange for that. They trade a bit, but he's got the shield bat on deck. Won't be too worried about it. With that popped, he's going to advance again. Nades out. But our friends down in there is Team Nestle, hunkered down. Not going to be hit by any of the explosions going off. Staying nice and safe so far.
What's but a pleasantry, a casualty. I mean, a pleasantry indeed. Nothing but a nice warning shot saying, we know you're there. I'm willing to even throw a frag. I know it might be no follow-up behind it, but just a check. We do have the high ground on Bamboozled, as always, so they're feeling comfortable here, and like you saw, they do have the resources, able to expend even a shield bat over what could have been easily healed up with a few cells. So you know that they have deep pockets. They're sitting in a very nice position to be able to rotate, and CHR finding exactly what we're talking about with crazy rotations. And we're back at a point of contention we've seen before. These ramps here and this high ground that can be held is very dangerous, but we know that it can be overthrown.
Absolutely can be. Will it be from here? We're certainly seeing some good retaliatory fire coming down from those teams that are at a lower elevation. Mad Dogs is in a pretty all-right spot here, not too far down themselves, and as a result, able to have good visibility on just about anybody at a slight elevation decline compared to some of their opponents here, but they've got plenty of cover. Legends Never Die, however, has faced some hardships until now, and is now down to just one competitor, but still not quite out of this, and they are still going to make up one of the 11 squads remaining.
At this point, it's about placement. You can continue to move well and lie under the radar, as so many people have a lot more to worry about than you. They're not necessarily going to advance in a way that makes them expose themselves too much, as they have 3 members. They have to move a lot larger and can get picked off one by one, get approached on, and they know that you're not necessarily sitting with the most loot. You're not the most worthy target here as round 2 is closing. So it's going to be important for Legends Never Die to continue to navigate through these circles and rings closing. But we see Dark Matter Black in such a crazy little labyrinth that they have access to, but choosing to be a bit more aggressive. They're starting to get flanked upon now.
Spot shots coming in from down the hall. There looks like we're going to have ourselves an indoor fight. The tight corners going to be difficult to work around. Fire up provides a little bit of cover here. As Dark Matter Black is down to just one competitor who's got to do the firefight with it looks like a Gibraltar. Unfortunately, not a firefight that he'll win. Farm Boys has one competitor getting it worked on. House back up. We slip into the void a little bit with Wraith here, but he is going to go down, and the entire squad with him. How fast fast did the other two go down? One of the Wraith was low. Hell, what happened to everybody else?
Mad Dogs came in when they felt the most comfortable. Right as that exchange had finished up, they maybe thought they could loot. They spent the time crouching by the crates, not necessarily looting yet, and then outwaiting that ability to just come in and sweep up everybody when the rest of the team had come in to clean up for the teammates. It was a little too late. Noth and squad much too well equipped, great position as well. That Gibraltar is just so strong. We see Dark Matter Black was what started this off. Farm Boys gets the kills. Farm Boys feeling fine. We see Wraith having to, try and get out. We see that they were feeling comfortable getting the revive onto the team, but right as Wraith is getting out, making the portal, bam! Mad Dogs comes in, starts cleaning up squad, and a 3v1 is not going to be easy to come back from. So just like that, Mad Dogs sitting atop of what was a crazy third-party situation, and Bamboozled is always still sitting atop the same King of the Hill positioning.
Still chilling, and it's still working out for him. So, hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But it's not going to be inside of our next circle. So they are going to have to aggress at some point. No reason to give up that advantage too early, though. They will most certainly have to have eyes on potential other avenues of getting behind some cover, getting into some solid positioning here, and getting themselves nice and secure. We can see some shots being taken there. It's an incredible distance. You're not going to land that, but why not take a couple of shots just to let the enemy know you're keeping an eye on them, just to make sure they know they're not safe.
Just to let them know they're not safe. Complexity using those light ammo bullets, has deep pockets on that. 11 reloads still on that wingman, and I guess feeling comfortable in the amount of fights that will be happening, as there's only 8 squads left in contention for this $10,000 cash prize. They're trying to get the best placement moving forward. So you see the use of the bullets maybe seem a bit frivolous, but also send a message. We don't care if you know where we're at. We're ready for the fight.
They know very well they're getting into a situation in which stealth is not going to be as much of an option, at the very least not long-term stealth. You know they're there. They're behind cover. Certainly they're utilizing their positioning very well. They might be going for flanks, trying to take advantage of some blind spots in the opponent's vision and in their configuration, the angles they're watching and things like that. But you know they're close by. There's 8 squads left. There's, again, only so much space that there can be people hiding. So you're going to have to get into some close quarters engagements at this stage of the game. The era of trying to move quietly and quickly across the map and get your loot up is, for the most part, over. You're getting any loot here is going to be off of the bodies of your former rivals.
Complexity Reptar finding a squad there. Now we're down to 7 squads, just as you mentioned, the amount of squads that are left as the 3rd circle finally closes. The 4th circle now revealed. 1 minute and 30 seconds left before it begins closing, and we're seeing CHR meet some resilience, some resistance from a team as they're trying to advance forward. We'll see who it is that is making this a bit difficult for them to advance. On the other side of this gunfight might be Complexity, it looks like, awaiting them.
Here we go. Let's get ready for the precautious approach. Gibraltar all going down. Creating some suppressive fire, but not stopping Complexity from taking a couple of shots on that interior, taking some heat in response. They don't quite have the angles they need to be fully secure. Meanwhile, inside, and Boozled, as always, is absolutely surrounded. They're dealing with a lot. Scrambling, you can see, but staying coordinated enough to keep their offensive angles up. But now they're losing 2 members all at once as the push begins, and unfortunately, that is going to be a clean sweep by Complexity. Breach and clear.
Complexity understanding that positioning and using that flank so well. That was so devastating. You feel like we're going to get some shield bats up. We might get some heals. Bam, I'm in your door. I'm here. It's Johnny. Just like that, mowing people down with that Eva, getting a lot of damage, and Complexity sits above, using that lead now to try to get a lot of these rest of these squads that are trying to rotate a bit more epicenter of the circle, but they're meeting a lot of resistance. There's a lot of squads left. We still have 6 squads remaining. There are only 16 people, so 2 of them are missing a person. No, we know that 1 squad might have 1. It might still be that LND is in this game, has not been picked off, and is still just sitting by himself. Legends never die. So we'll see what happens as that unfolds. For now, we are seeing Complexity continue to rotate around, continue to establish dominance in the center, but getting sniped out. Reptar having to get the Gibraltar skill, and the bubble popped, and the nice quick revive. Not having a lot of health on top of that shield bat though, but getting a nice exchange here. You see that upward angle doing wonders for them, but both iShiny and Reptar dropping now. Monsoon is going to be the one left. He's made highlight reels before. He's now on the run using as much of that Octane boost as he can. The wingman shots still loaded up. We saw 99 bullets in the chamber before. Now he's up to 151.
Absolutely incredible here. About to do all the back foot running as best he can. He's Octane, so he's got plenty of skills in that department, but even he can only do so much evading. He's got to recover those banners if he can. It would be so disastrous trying to get into any kind of a firefight with this low a loadout left. He Nestle is out there somewhere. 5 squads are left. CHR still out here, down 1 player, but with the banner in hand, are ready to recover. Elevate GG, still all 3 members on deck, closing in as well.
A lot of squads are fighting.
And someone getting picked off.
At low team, they have low squads across the board. 5 squads left with 15 people. We should be looking at 15 to see full strength teams. So anybody that has 3 members fielded on the team is going to be sitting at a bit of an advantage. Elevate GG is somebody I think of having an advantage with the extra players that they have, because they've had great runs so far. But if this is them rotating down there, they're getting rained down upon by Mad Dogs. That R4 is so devastating, especially with all the attachments that you see on it. No kick. Noth is very potent in his ability to reach your character model with those bullets, and he is making this very difficult for everybody approaching on below him.
Skin shots going through along the side. We come barreling ahead. Up in the air, Sashini taking, that's a lot of heat on the air. A lot of shots going through on the descent down. Somebody just got hurt bad, and there's not a lot of time left on the clock of which to recover. Not a lot of resources most likely in hand either.
Is that something that is a targetable ability? Like you lock in the shots there?
I don't believe so. That was just
I don't know if any of them missed.
No, I don't know if a single bullet was wasted. That storm closing in. We're gonna get to see him sometime soon. They gotta be over there. Hopefully they had a couple of shield bats to their name still in this late hour. As you get one more pop of the Allfather left, no doubt. They're going to be in range. We're gonna have eyes on each other with our final 4 squads.
Final 4 squads, but Mad Dogs have made a case that they still are looking for the first place spot with the man down. No Octane, but still plenty of utility and fortification with that Gibraltar. We know how Cody can pop off and have as many kills as Octane. Cody B, that carry Noth as well. We talked about that laser focus, steady hand when that build is exactly where he wants it to be. So they have a nice little position behind this bush, cheeky little position. Of course, people know where they're at. They've been scanned multiple times. Everybody's scanning each other. They all know. But we see Cody actually opting with that Kraber, only 6 shots on it in a flat line. So he wants to play a bit farther away from these teams, possibly look to third party from above, get some positioning away, and then use the rest of those bullets before getting a wipe and then switching out that weapon very quickly.
Leslie once again backs against the wall, and yet once again we get to see a team that may not have been leading the pack last game, but is certainly showing out by coming into this top ranking position here at the end of this one. We are seeing steady gain, I feel like, in terms of the rankings here. No doubt the numbers are going to be looking very interesting. Same thing could be said for Elevate GG. Did not do bad at all in our last match, and is continuing to not do too shabby here. But somebody's going to have to take their first drop of our final 4. So mid-air going to take a couple of hits along the way. That Octane is down and out, and that is another squad out of here.
Complexity gunned down. That's the first of those 4 squads that you mentioned.
Complexity? Oh my god.
Complexity, they took the brunt of a bad rotation there, absolutely called out in that. And just like that, we see Elevate GG have great positioning. We still know that Mad Dogs are lying in wait. And then we have, who's the team inside? Who's waiting inside?
I'm not sure.
Well, all I know is that they're feeling pretty comfortable with the positioning they have because a lot of terrain needs to be covered to close the distance. So Elevate not necessarily feeling great if Mad Dogs choose to pop over and check them, as we see now happening. It seems that they do know where they're at. There is a respawn beacon on Elevate GG.
Excellent positioning for it, making sure that even if they do go down, very likely considering the close proximity here. Fight breaking out. Mad Dogs has to make a stand here. It's do or die. Doc ends up throwing that Mad Dogs out of the game as Team Nestle left with one other competitor. The firefight breaks out. Bullets go flying. Elevate GG has two people standing. They're going up against one. And it is going to be Elevate GG finishing up with the win.
Elevate GG finding the come around as that was the unfortunate come too far of an extension, I feel like, to get Mad Dogs taken off the map. They did get the win in that exchange, but it allowed Elevate GG to get a very opportunistic approach on them and get the first place win in a very triumphant way. 2 members down, no shields, maybe a shot away from death, but just like that, clutch. Easy win, and just like that, elevating their standing as well. GG to them.
Indeed. Look at these replays, folks. Look back on these fond moments that continue to show us just how capable things can be. Ellen Demons, fantastic work early on. Did not make it to the Final Four. Dark Matter Black, we got to see in this incredible firefight on the inside. Did not make it to the Final Four. Same with you said for Farm Boys, who also has been crushing it the entire game series thus far. Once again, there are no guarantees. Do not let those early standings trick you into thinking that our balance of power has been carefully struck. There is a lot of breathing room for these competitors, enough complexity, no pun intended, to the game for even some of our higher ranking players to face opposition a little bit earlier on than they expected and take that tactical loss early on and thus see a drop in point totals. But they have enough of a baseline that even this match will not put anybody too far ahead for there to be comebacks made in our final 2 matches.
Yeah, there is still so much room for comeback opportunity. We see now that Elevate has been possibly more middle standing team, but now has made it a case for them being in the top 3. One of those teams that will be able to take home over $1,000 after we walk out of here today. So they have really rose to the occasion. They're trying to continue their ascent of the leaderboard, which is getting even more jam-packed as we add more point totals into these games. And we see teams, like you said, Complexity, who had a early stunted run in the previous game, and then in the game that we just saw, already get to a only fourth place spot. So not in those dominant plays that we've seen before coming out from that team, and we're seeing teams from the middle of the pack feel very comfortable now moving forward. So as we cut to a short break and let the teams recoup, get to the drawing board, and have a plan for the next game, we will get to see how that culminates for them. But like I said, we have to get to a quick break before that. So stay tuned, get some water, top off, and we'll be back very shortly with more Trovo Titans.
Are you streaming on Trovo yet? We're welcoming streamers to become part of our exciting and supportive community, no matter how big or small. It's easy to use, has fun features, and is especially great for mobile gaming. Streamers can receive subscriptions, gifts from fans, and many more cash rewards. New Trovers can earn up to $380. Just use referral code Trovo Titans. That's TROVOTITANS in the Creator Studio to become a Trovo streamer. It's time to level up and start streaming on Trovo.
We're rewarding our community with coveted Titan points in North America, Latin America, and Europe. Titan points can turn into cash at the end of the Trovo Titan series. You can earn Titan points 3 ways. Join our Discord and hang out with the community. Your engagement will earn you automatic points. Play in our free-to-play online tournaments. The more you play, the more points you earn. If you place well in the tournament, you'll get bonus points too. Be part of the fun and earn Titan points today. We'll see you on the leaderboards. Visit trovotitans.live/titanpoints for more info. Looking to be the next great Trovo caster? Apply today for the Trovo Titans Community Caster Program. We're looking for dedicated Trovers who want to boost their following by casting some of our community tournaments right from your own channel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Trovo Titans $10,000 closed invitational for Apex Legends that's been heating up so intensely. We are now in Game 5 of what has been so many crazy narratives to unfold. There's 6 games total that we're going to be playing. So this is a few more. There are a few more opportunities for these teams to get some points. But let's look at the tournament format one more time for everybody that is just now joining us. Like we said, it is 20 teams now that have qualified from 40 teams that we got to see yesterday in our closed qualifier. They've been weighing down 50% of the best teams from yesterday that performed very well. It was such a great series of games that we got to witness, are now competing in 6 games. They've already done 4. The standings have been heating up. We're seeing so many teams from the middle of the pack now advance to the top, and top teams having a bit more time replicating the success that they've seen earlier. And all of these matches, all of the stuff that we've seen today, all of the results of yesterday that have now come into fruition for us the past few moments is for this $10,000 prize pool that we have these teams reaching for. This is going to be an insane prize pool. First place is going to be taking home $3,250. Second place, just shy of that, $1,000 left. Third place, over $1,000 between the 3 of them. There's so much money to be had just for coming out and showing up over these past, I believe, altogether, if you make it to the end, you've played 9 games of Apex in these close qualifiers. So easy weekend, light weekend for an amazing payout. We're seeing that they are playing expertly to achieve this prize pool. And Caleb, man, I've just enjoyed getting to hear you get hype. We've made some amazing, beautiful pictures and narratives come to life together, and I can't wait to see what unfolds in Game 5 and 6.
Yeah, Austin, man, I feel like people a couple counties over have heard me get hype at this point, and it's probably not going to be stopping anytime soon. If there's choppers circling by the time we are done with this tournament, you'll know why. It's because they're worried that something's happening here. But I mean, hey, they can come through and enjoy the show. It'll be a great. they'll have a reward certainly for coming in to enjoy. Somebody racing towards that $3,250 first place cash prize. That's mind-boggling to consider, and very, very soon will be a reality. Money in somebody's hands.
Yes, sweet, sweet money. Upgrade the setup. Get some new Apex packs. Look for some more opportunities to get those beautiful cosmetics. They look like they're already so decked out. I see heirlooms on everybody. Such beautiful choices for the skins and gun custom layout. Everything just looks beautiful through everything we've seen today. So as we get into Game 5, as XSET, who have been performing better and better as these games ramp up, get an early drop, Complexity's looking for a little bit of a deeper drop themselves, but we see that there's so many names that we are now familiar with because the teams are performing so well. There's so much talent out here to highlight.
We are seeing Complexity off to their usual start. We're getting ourselves cross field as quickly as possible to get that nice early game looting done. So far, nobody that we have seen at least getting into those early brawls. Hopefully everybody has the opportunity to get their early game clear. Oh, never mind. there we go, our first engage. I can see somebody getting some shots landed from deep there. Glock 9 is down a member already who is taking the shots on the ground, but we have Bloodhound up top, laying down some suppressive fire in response, getting a couple of 6 of damage in the process even, and they do have that recovery available.
It is always a dangerous journey to the beacon, but luckily for them, one is nearby. They're going to be able to find the beacon, but it does alert people to your position. A huge dropship comes in. It takes a lot of time to even get it charged up. So with the team being able to approach so close, they're not going to be able to necessarily use the one that's most easily accessible. They might have to take a bit of the path untreaded. Go somewhere where there's not so many eyes lying in wait. And we see TSS finding a nice little angle on this rotation, but unfortunately not many of these shots from the longbow hitting on Watson.
Pushing ahead, TSS about to get into an engagement here potentially, depending on whether or not that other team is feeling as dangerous as they are, clearly, as they rush for this run-up. Might be able to get a couple of shots on them as they retreat, however, if they do decide to keep things neutral for the time being. They haven't come around to meet us yet, so it looks like it is going to be TSS on the approach, which means two things. First of all, the other team is not willing or prepared to engage so far, so if they do get caught unawares later on, that could be very, very bad for them. But TSS hunting them down is a dangerous prospect, too. You're very open when you're tailing somebody, and a little bit of your attention is away from watching your surroundings. You're not moving cautiously, you're moving quickly, trying to chase somebody down as fast as you can, and that could be a dangerous prospect.
It can be so dangerous chasing anybody when there are so many teams that are adept at these third-party hunting situations. But as we just
what'd you walk into?
talk about that, you see Reptar getting to unload the Spitfire upon a very, very aggressive rotation. Complexity sitting pretty so far. Already getting one member down, going to be looking for the rest of his team. Try to cut off any opportunity for them to get away. Even if they lose a member, just being still in the presence of this tournament is not something Complexity wants to see. They're still in hunt, still able to find a nice knock there. And it looks like it seems to be on the Trovo, so Complexity finding Trobros in a very unfortunate rotation there and able to knock two of them so far.
Sailing ahead, Dark Matter White doing some long distance movement of their own. Rotation that has them pushing ahead and noticing some foes further up, one of whom is going to get knocked. His friends are behind him, potentially in range to run into some trouble as well. We see what I believe might be an entirely separate team as well, moving across the map up ahead.
In Apex, if it's not a third party, it's going to be a fourth party that knocks you and gets you out of contention for this big cash prize that we're getting so much closer to seeing actualized. But Dark Matter White going to be able to get a bit of safety. We see CHR going to be also just continuing to have a little gunfight here. I believe this is with... I just missed who those tags were, but they seem to be in a fight with the Ray. It seems bamboozled as always here against CHR, who are now trying to escape. They don't like this fight. They're not trying to pick this, and they're going with the kite out, trying to get some distance away from who they know are doing so well so far. But Bloodhound, unfortunately, using that wingman and taking too much damage, having to get away from that.
Bat Dogs bailing out there. CHR taking a little bit of, and by a little bit I mean quite a bit, unfortunately, as they get absolutely riddled from the side there. But while bleeding out, we're going to be using those jump pads for some long range mobility. Unfortunately, it does not land them within the storm, and they are still pursued all the way through, even with all that mobility, even with a wild play. The idea of using jump pads like that to get that much range while you're down, you can flee out of a firefight and back into position for a revive is wild. Shame it didn't work out because their opponents were just too hungry.
I love seeing all these octanes just for those interactions, especially as you see the ring and the circle closing in. There's just so many jump pads that people have layered together, so you get to see some really cool, cheeky interactions like that, almost getting all the way to the ring. But just like that, Elevate GG getting to get the full cleanup of the retreating squad. And just like that, we see Xset sitting above their prey, and it looks to be what is a 3-team pileup here. Insane mechanics they see coming out, and just like that, they are king of the hill in this exchange. They've gotten the knocks they needed and are sitting with the kill lead crown on their head.
This is crazy thus far, and yet, once again, I must remind you, because it blows my mind after seeing all that go down, 16 squads left. We've lost 4 squads, and that's it.
Every fight has been so integral to the squads leaving. Nobody's just getting mowed down. There's very contentious fights coming out between the squads. Everybody surviving with what they have left. You see 16 squads, but only 43 people. So a lot of people already losing members, having to be on the back foot, but still trying to salvage as much as they can out of this Game 5. The penultimates leading into the grand final, Caleb. We have so much ground to cover still, so much exciting Apex. LND trying to get away, as they're already one of those teams I'm mentioning that have a member down, that's bleeding out. Not necessarily in banner territory yet, but going to be, no doubt, with the retreating stance that they're having to take.
Yeah, we got some heat happening here. Nades out. Getting the jump pad hit, come ahead and try to bring the fight to them, but you're in a multiple person V1 engagement, and yet they managed to clear very effectively up top there. The Gibraltar bubble goes up. They've got looks on somebody, managed to finish them off, come down and do a little bit of looting. Maybe not just yet, but enemies are still just around the corner. Mad Dogs manages to get through that somehow, however, with all team members still intact.
It looks like Scar was up there with Mufasa, and Simba was a grown man and chooses to approach him at the ledge there. And then just like that, bamboozled as always, unfortunately true to their name, get bamboozled by the approach of Mad Dogs flying in, taking a very heroic flight path into that little cave that they had found in the mountain. But Complexity, you see, getting some fire, getting some warning shots saying, hey, you can't be that aggressive in rotation. We're going to do the same thing you've been doing to us, meanies.
Calm down from deep. Trying to charge rifle me from a mile away.
Yeah, jerk.
It's ungentlemanly.
Meet me face to face.
Exactly. Fight me, coward. Face me in open combat. But it's exactly what we're going to be getting in a few moments here as we come over this wall. Beaten up in the city. Catch me in the mean streets. As some very successful knocks there will help with the health pools of their opponents here. But Complexity has been facing some retaliatory fire pretty consistently. Great angle here with which to pop that shield back. But they're seeing somebody else come along the train tracks there.
That is such a contended area. So many people have to pass through this point, so to be the meat of the sandwich there is not what Complexity is looking to do. You want to rotate out of that middle.
Don't let yourself be meat. Get out of there as quickly as possible. Complexity, for example, got some good distance on their side on the underpass here. They're able to bail out. We always see X-Set is coming in from a whole new angle. Once again, we return to the scene of a last climactic finish. But it won't be the scene here on this round, it looks like. Mad Dogs still all on deck. Having recovered, it seems, from the difficulties they had earlier in the tournament. They had managed to keep their heads fully above water over the course of the match so far. But still, 15 squads left. And yet again, I must ask, how?
Wait, honestly now, at this point, I just have to agree with you. I can't even have some like, well, it's just been so good. How are there still 15 squads out here?
We've had so many engagements, but so few of them have ended in actual squad clears. Now, that changes things a bit, but still, that's 14. But you see, that was one guy, the last remaining member of the squad. We have not seen a whole lot of full clears, but there have been a lot of fights. And a lot of them, people have either been walking away able to recover their teammates, or they've been going it solo.
Mad Dogs being able to find prey there, and just like they were able to find prey earlier, that jump pad play that they had as they saw the prey waiting. Unfortunately, they know that somebody was down. They felt comfortable enough to get into this alley and took Bamboozled, as always, to the brim, took him to the limit, and had great coverage, great target focus, making sure that they weren't wasting any shots on that knockdown shield, making sure to get the people that were actually going to providing firepower back to them out of the picture. And just like that, we see them getting to clean squads and make quite a run. But U.S. Army Esports also having very great positioning. We see that they are in this run. They are sitting here, 13 squads left, very charged. Nice proactive positionings as well. They're not sitting on the back foot in any of this building that they've fortified so far.
Coercion indoors, having a moment of respite. The tension mounting as they are very well aware of how much danger is lurking outside and how small this circle is to have 12 squads in it. Got a little roomier just all of a sudden, but still, that's a lot of people for things to be as narrow as they are, and about to narrow even further in minute 55.
That was our farm boys getting farmed, actually.
That was? Oh, no.
Yeah, farm boys getting farmed, and I also believe I'm seeing Mad Dogs getting out as well. Noth, Madness, all dropping. I believe that they are also at least on the back foot. So a lot of squads, as we see so many more squads dropping. a lot of top dogs dropping out in that mix.
Yeah, sure are. And yet we have some fan favorites managing to persevere. Complexity, who's been top dogging quite a few ranges, is still out here. We also saw U.S. Army Esports, for those folks of you in the chat who have been hoping for them to remain repped all the way through. It's working out. As you can also see, and it's also been mentioned in chat, Farm Boys got harvested, which is unfortunate, but they've got the point total banked already to still be in a very good position just after what we have seen here.
Absolutely. Whenever you have solidified a champion round for yourself, you're going to be feeling good on that leaderboard. They're not feeling great about dropping so early, but they have farmed and harvested a great spot for themselves on that leaderboard. We're going to probably beat that horse all the way into the pasture and bring him back to the house, bring him back 86 him from the town, and I don't know. We're going to stay off from the farm analogies on Farm Boys.
This is one of the most strange Mr. Ed reboots I think I've ever been pitched, but I will still fund that. Thank you.
Fun fact, middle name Edwards, so Mr. Bro.
It all come full circle.
1, 2, 3.
Galaxy
Fish.
Brain. While we struggle to get our Mr. Ed reboot greenlit, we will continue to keep a close eye on the match in which CHR has gotten a full clearance here to move in. They've got a great angle there. Lots of damage coming through the Gibby. Bubble goes up. CHR is en route for the rushdown. I'm not sure they have the health and shields left to hold back a full-on assault, but they bailed, it looks like, using the bubble as a distraction. It seems like they're taking shots from somewhere else. It might be that team having rotated out, might be a third party, hard to say. Even I can't keep total angles on everything out here, and CHR certainly is not going to be able to either. With 3 folks keeping eyes out and with the vision they have, with, again, everybody up, their Bloodhound is still active, still using eyes of the All-Father to get their best possible amounts of information one could ask for.
Reptar looking so cool with that parkour into that Spitfire usage, so clean, just providing some coverage for the team that was just using a bit of time to tunnel. They're trying to get good placement. CHR honestly has the best placement in this situation. They have a really nice high ground, and yeah, the circle is closing in. We're going to find out very shortly here where the next place they'll need to position is, but currently they're going to be able to rain down hellfire on whoever wants to go past. So U.S. Army Esports, we see now positioning well. They have eyes on a team nearby. Dakota is going to be down for now, so they're going to need to be very careful and accurate in whoever chooses to approach them. There are a lot of squads left with 3 people left in tow, so they're going to have to use the most of their resources, but Lazy's and Namito have gotten this far. They're going to be doing well, but eating up that Gibraltar ultimate so far, having to get out as they also get some of that nade usage.
U.S. Army Esports not only being the only team without some kind of vision-based legend on the team, no Crypto, no Bloodhound, is already in an interesting spot metagame-wise, but now with the Revenant down and completely out, they also don't have that ability to push very, very aggressively, and the aggression of the course of the match so far has been, it feels like, part of what has allowed them to come ahead into such a high-ranking spot, but now they are really going to be in a difficult situation with not a lot of advantages to their name, especially considering the two team members that they do have up are team members that basically every other team in here has. Everyone's got a Gibby, everybody's got an Octane, and now they are lacking in their third to mix things up, really. It's going to all come down to whether or not they can be precautious enough in these last few moments to not get overexposed, and hopefully have a couple other teams go down a member as well.
Xset went so hard there trying to grab the banner, but unfortunately they got called out, and CHR were able to keep Cook alive, and they're able to continue this press, now getting Xset on the ropes. I believe Clay and Kenny now dropping, just like that. Rambo also dropping, so 8 squads left. CHR going to take the kill leader spot with that. Hambino feeling really good. Darani as well, just playing so well with his Bloodhound, hunting out his opposition. That ultimate usage was used so well in the last fight.
CHR prepares for the advance. There's a lot of heat going through just about everywhere, as you can hear. They charge ahead undaunted. Bounce pad is up there, sailing into the fight. Keeping that mid-air work a little bit. The Gibby bubble on their end of things helps out. Again, helps them land safely. We've seen so many times people dive into bubbles like that and end up getting smoked. But here, they're doing much better. They know they're on sonar, though. Somebody's eyes of the All-Father are on them. A lot of heat quite literally there with a minute 24 seconds left before that ring closes again, and we really get into face-to-face range.
See that red armor there? They've kind of set up a bastion here of these items and made a little bunker for themselves of resources available. Hambino possibly going to just leave that red armor there, fully charged, able to shred down this purple armor and then pick that up to have a second life in a sense out of thin air. People will be very surprised when they see that upgrade happen. He is already just 476 damage away from having a red rank of his own, so feeling comfortable moving forward, having that ability for that second life.
Turn around. Keeping a close look on the right side there. Where the squeeze is real here with Complexity, one of the 5 remaining squads. That vice is tightening with every passing second. At some point, these disparate souls are going to have to come into this final clash. That match, we're going to be seeing several teams drop all at once when we do. For the time being, though, Complexity trying to do their best. Keep their eyes wide open. They've got vision. Somebody indoors up there to the northeast. They're also keeping a close eye on the south as well. We know from experience, from our alternative angles, that there are teams over there also biding their time, waiting for this final push. Who's going to be forced by the storm to emerge from there, and how are they going to avoid just getting peppered the minute they go into open space? Will they push? Will they flee? We will see. There you go, jump pad out. They get some distance. They try. Complexity tries to go for the shots there, but they're going to take some damage on this side that cuts off their ability to punish the advance, which sets up all of the teams involved here for a more close quarters fight because they weren't able to take any of the heat off of that team coming in from the side.
They do have that northwest corner secured, but it's very obvious in a very open spot. They have a massive wall as well to traverse that if anybody gets above them on, it can just honestly wail down upon them as they try to pick off the squad lying in a very awkward similar position on the side. Neither of them want to extend out aggressively into the opening, try to get an edge out. They know that they can't parkour up of this mountain that's in front of them, and resources are beginning to run thin. You see a lot of shields having to be thrown out. They're going to choose to go on the offensive. Complexity, thinking that they have the edge in this gunfight. The Mastiff shots opening up, both Gibraltar bubbles being popped. Who can win inside of the chaos that is ensuing?
We're dancing around these overlapping bubbles. A Venn diagram of death results in a squad dropping. Elevate GG walking away with their lives here, but not for long, it seems like, as they are still facing a lot of opposition. The full squad is up and looking pretty healthy, all things considered. Giving with a little bit of a lackluster shield pool at the moment.
Just a little bit of solace in that, just taking a breath, using that Gibraltar shield to possibly just get a bit of the centering on the calms. A lot of panic that might have been getting the blood pressure up. You know you have to breathe. This is game 5. We're heading into the final game, so a win here for Elevate GG will easily put them in the first or second spot moving forward.
Elevate GG. They come around to the side at any moment. They know they're going to have to. Know their opponents are going to take that first step if they don't. The question is when, taking the opportunity to get a little bit of looting done first, to pick up a little bit of gear, try to be well prepared for this final assault, although I have to imagine they're not going to have much time to do any healing once they cross that threshold. Somebody is on the top of our large rock formations here. It's going to take some shots all the way down, unfortunately. Elevate GG still looking very good, all locked and loaded when it comes to the health and shield point totals. They just might be able to weather the storm here without needing all that healing, but somebody does have the Phoenix kit in tow just in case. Popping a shield cell after taking just a bit of damage and still keeping that vision up. They've got eyes on exactly where their opponents are.
They are in a choke situation there as they're trying to approach up, and the teams know this. They're trying to pincher them from the side. TSS with a very favorable position as they approach with that massive. Seems like most people have been knocked, but Blur Flavors is getting gunned down. Now, he's trying to win this gunfight, and CHR come out as the champions in that insane battle at the end of the match there.
Absolutely incredible. We saw them post up. We saw them fight through absolute nightmare start to finish. And in the end, they had a very open chance of coming ahead with that win. And here they are. That was wild to see how much they had to prepare and how well prepared their opponents were as well. We saw some well-equipped teams with plenty of healing items to spare at the very end there. Usually we get to spots like these, a couple of people at the very least that are pretty desperate, but I'm pretty sure all of our top 4 at least were stocked and locked and loaded. It really came down to, like I mentioned, not having enough time to pop the shield batteries, not having the ability to move back and do any healing because they'll just push on you because there's such little space they need to come up for. But everybody was kind of in a gridlock where nobody felt comfortable overexposing themselves because there's 2 guys that'll just come bearing down on me if I take a step forward.
Yeah, CHR, we remember that they had, like you said, a tumultuous journey to get to this point. They were a part of this crazy Octane interaction that we got to see happen earlier. People were getting knocked out left and right, but they were able to traverse that situation, bring it back. Xset had a great deep run. They were doing amazing things, making work of all of their legends, and they were starting as the kill leader, unfortunately able to keep going with that success. We saw Mad Dogs, even though not able to get a top spot on this game, have those highlight moments. They're still playing full force. Just unfortunately, with the way that this game panned out, so much chaos that ensued between all parties on the map, they were getting knocked out early. Xset went with a very cheeky recovery there and then got called out by CHR, who had been fighting back to this point and did get to the kill leader spot, continue to be king of the hill. You see, oh my gosh, this last hit, my complexity, that approach with the Octane jump pad was so valiant, was punished by Elevate GG. They were able to be the ones on top of that, but TSS was able to try to break that up, make Elevate GG on the ropes, but they were just the bait. CHR was lying in wait.
Absolutely, which was always going to be the case for somebody. There was no way for any of our competitors to come ahead and do any of the pushing necessary to try and take a shot at that win without somebody else having an advantage on them. It's a 3-way standoff at a certain point. 4-way, I would argue, but still, nobody had the breathing room to advance on somebody and not put themselves into view of someone else. You just had to be prepared for that counterattack. And in the end, CHR was well prepared, and their plan managed to execute just a little bit faster.
Our spectators were able to catch such essential moments all throughout that game. There were minute fights, a lot of kiting back, very expert movement that came in that allowed a lot of teams to honestly, in the terms of the competitive players, rat through the end with 1 to 2 players, not necessarily looking for engages, but looking for placement, and then still being able to pick things off, able to find opportunities, able to hone in on what their strength was in that place and not be a big target, still get very far. We saw Nami 2 from US Army Esports, even though they got clipped, I believe, around 9 squads, 10 squads left, Nami 2 is still able to get very deep into the run, but is able to go all the way to the 4th spot. So shows how effective sometimes knowing what your win condition or placement condition and playing to it can lead in your favor in these matchups.
Absolutely can, and has on several occasions here. This has been a testament to how you have to operate when you truly have just an absolute avalanche coming down on you at all times. We are seeing, because of, again, how methodical, how slow-paced the breaks are between the action outbursts, you can say, over the course of the game, we're seeing a lot of moment to prepare, to wait patiently, to observe, to utilize information gathering as often as possible, and then how to keep a cool head under the intense pressure cooker that is any of these actual firefights that break out, particularly since most of our firefights are happening at the very end in very close proximity.
Right, you talk about that breath of air, and sometimes it is what you need to get the comms under a situation, but sometimes you've made now a lapse in communication, and we see teams come in and do that third party and actually press you in a way that is too much. You try decide to now cool off, and now you're getting full heat, and it's going to unfortunately make you bubble.
You can't let yourself get too relaxed. You have to constantly be on the again, which is where information gathering is. You're never stagnant. You're never standing still. You're either searching for information, positioning yourself tactically, trying to make predictions regarding where your opponent is going to go next, trying to utilize everything you know about which locations you've hit, which locations you've seen people hit, so you can know, all right, if they're pushing up in this direction, if they're being very aggressive, that probably means they're desperate. I know where they're headed. I know that the place has been cleared already because I cleared it, and that means that they're not going to be having your resources picked up there. It's a great time to move in, pressure them a little bit, gently, not too aggressively, let them burn some resources, then go in hard and fast.
Right, this is the last showing that these teams are going to have together, and we've seen how the aggressive positioning and honestly just, I don't want to say disrespectful rotations, but that's what I'll call them. When you know people have you down their sights, you cannot just willy-nilly take these paths across bridges and open spaces. You have to be covert in the movement. It's just going to unfortunately get your health bar shredded. You're going to lose a lot of resources, and it's going to give that team that kind of just felt fine tracking you previously the comfortability and confidence to now press in. We see so much Octane use of these jump pads. So if you are lying, thinking you're going to recoup, thinking that you're going to just use some shield cells because you used a couple shield batteries earlier in exchanges and it's going to take a bit longer, they're going to jump on you. They know, and they're calculating how long these heals are taking. They know what's going on with all of their scouting potential they have on these Bloodhound picks that we see everybody running. So you're going to have a bad time if you're going to think that sitting back on the gas at any point and taking some unwarranted damage will still lead to you having a deep run.
Absolutely. We've seen it many a time here thus far and seen plenty of it enough to know how arduous it can be to keep yourself in a safe position where you're just trying to get the breathing room to take a moment of pause, get some looting done, get some healing done. We've also seen that the combination of Bloodhound and Octane makes these maps very small. Your opponents have a lot of potential range to move up, and they know exactly where to go.
Yeah, people are using the Bloodhound search so effectively in front of them, mapping out where everybody's kind of posting up and then covering their six with it after that, transitioning to using it as a way to cut off a lot of these third-party opportunities, or at least have an eye on where they'd be coming from and make it more difficult and position well, keep an eye on all the angles, kind of like a chessboard that's forming of these teams as we see now. So I could talk about the games for days. Honestly, we've been able to get a masterclass in Apex Legends over these past games, but it's all leading to the event coming next, the last game, the grand final of this $10,000 qualifier. We can't wait to get into it, but before that, we have to get into a short break. Message from our sponsors, water break, just nourishment break for all the excitement that's left to come. So stick around, and we'll see you very shortly.
Are you streaming on Trovo yet? We're welcoming streamers to become part of our exciting and supportive community, no matter how big or small. It's easy to use, has fun features, and is especially great for mobile gaming. Streamers can receive subscriptions, gifts from fans, and many more cash rewards. New Trovers can earn up to $380. Just use referral code Trovo Titans. That's TROVOTITANS in the Creator Studio to become a Trovo streamer. It's time to level up and start streaming on Trovo.
We're rewarding our community with coveted Titan points in North America, Latin America, and Europe. Titan points can turn into cash at the end of the Trovo Titan series. You can earn Titan points 3 ways. Join our Discord and hang out with the community. Your engagement will earn you automatic points. Play in our free-to-play online tournaments. The more you play, the more points you earn. If you place well in the tournament, you'll get bonus points too. Be part of the fun and earn Titan points today. We'll see you on the leaderboards. Visit trovotitans.live/Titan points for more info. Looking to be the next great Trovo caster? Apply today for the Trovo Titans Community Caster Program. We're looking for dedicated Trovers who want to boost their following by casting some of our community tournaments right from your own channel.
Welcome back, one and all, to our Trovo's Titans Apex Legend $10,000 tournament. We are just on the cusp of victory for a special someone, folks. We have had an incredible game thus far, and very, very soon we'll have an incredible climax as somebody's going to be walking away with that first place cash prize and a whole slew of other competitors walking away with some solid money on their side as well. I am back again, Caleb. Excited to see you, and of course, my co-host, Austin Champ, by my side, just as hype for our final few moments. Let the people know how you're feeling.
I just had to take a deep breath. I am too excited, to be honest, because there has been so much amazing Apex Legends that has brought us to this point. And honestly, I'm a bit sad to see it go away, man. The opportunity to see these teams try so hard for this amazing cash prize that is coming in, as well as the Titan points that are coming in with that win. It just has been so beautiful to be a part of. And people at home might be wondering, like, how can I get Titan points? I'm watching. I should be a part of this too. You can. You can get Titan points as well. You can get it by hanging out in the Discord, being awesome. You can do it by coming and competing in events just like this, gaining points through the tournaments. We have over 100 tournaments running through all types of regions. And if you are at the top of that prize leaderboard, you are able to get the bigger share of the pot right now. We just had a leaderboard close on June 30th, but we have an active one running. The one that closed on June 30th looked like this. Cross was taking home the biggest piece of the pot. $1,500, I believe, was the prize pool coming in for that leaderboard. So Cross came in with the most evil life. X-Sly, Zellower, Beg, T, Rich, the Pierce J, all at the top of the bracket there. Toxic, Poxer, and Super Curb, also worth mentioning. Getting on that leaderboard is difficult. You have to be very active in the community. People know that that cash prize incentive is worth a lot. So it is just really nice to see that we have so much entertaining people coming out and just competing. We also have more events coming up. We have the Fortnite event coming up on July 25th. August 1st will be a Brawl Stars 3v3. And then the Pokemon Unite 5v5, August 8th, it's coming. I'm going to be so excited. I'll be a spectator at least. No doubt I will be there to at least watch $300 prize pool for that event. The game is dropping soon. If you're not excited to see that new Pokemon MOBA, get excited because it's going to be awesome.
And folks, that's just what's coming up soon. There are so many terms ahead. Like the link says, go to TrovoTitans.live and get some eyes on what other events are coming up. You'll never know what's going to be coming through. Your favorite game may be on deck. You might be able to win yourself some money. Speaking of money, look at these standings. We have Mad Dogs, after absolutely being put through the grinder, still managed to show enough power and success to come in first here with 84 points. Right behind them, Complexity at 74. Farm Boys in third at 67. Elevate GG at 62. CHR at 61. And rounding out our top six, we have TSS at 54. But our final four behind that in the top 10 still have enough point totals to potentially swing those top spaces. We are still in a position where we might see some upheaval in our standings for all of our moneymakers before we get to the end of this.
Absolutely. There's so much opportunity as well. I see at third for a lot of toss-up there. So depending on how this next game goes, we'll see how that bears out. But you see the teams on the other side at 11 through 20 plays. We have Dark Matter Black sitting at the top, tied with Team FMS. We haven't had to speak too much about them, but they've been consistent. Bruvs and U.S. Army Esports, Dent Heads, LN Demons, they all need around 33 points to get into that top 10. So it's going to be all about that placement, all about those kills, making sure that you can get a better placement than possibly, search out the teams that are ahead of you and get them out early. Try to drop next to somebody and really risk it for the biscuit. I'd love to see it. LN Demons, Dark Matter White also tied there for 16th place. Trobros, Bamboozled as always, and Glock are going to round out our contenders for this top 20. But just the fact that they've gotten here, just the fact that they've made it through first the open qualifier and then the crazy rounds of Apex Legends that we saw yesterday into this final round of this close qualifier speaks testaments to how much they've practiced, how honed in they are to their abilities, and they're going to be working no matter what, no matter where you're sitting, first through 20th, trying to get your hands at some piece of this $10,000 prize pool. There is $3,250 going to first, $2,250 going to second, and third is going to be sitting over $1,000 split between the org. It's so exciting to be able to hand out this money. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, no matter where you're at, you're also going home with some great money if you've made it into the top 50% of the contenders today. So nothing but excitement as we head into this final game of our bout today. Just today, though, we have plenty of upcoming events, but we see the line has been drawn across the map. The drop ship is enabled. You can head where you want. You can go early. Bruv's choosing to go with an aggressive early drop, trying to get their hands on some of this early loot and make it difficult for anybody to try to put a dent in their plans. They want to get headed up that leaderboard, so close to being in the money.
With everything we've seen thus far, we have been able to tell that the early game can be a brutal time period. So getting to that nice early drop, getting the opportunity to get some loot on your hands, get a good gun, get some shields up, get something, get the armor on deck is so important. Coming with the Hemlock and the Eva 8, not a bad way to get started by any means, as Bruvs is off to a solid foundation here. With some teams, I'd imagine at this point still getting onto the actual map, still getting boots on the ground. But one area is already starting to get cleaned out.
Yeah, also picking up some purple armor there already as we only see the ring closing in sign start to come in. So he pings out another one for his team, says, yeah, Evo Shield level 3 here, got some level 2. Come get upgraded, team. We got options.
We have our first firefight breaking out as well as Glock 9 is getting into an altercation.
Beautiful full animation used from Tatsuya. That Wraith finisher coming in. Glock 9 is saying, we are sitting last, but we are not sitting there for long. We want to get some kills. They unfortunately taking Trovo's one member less as 60 ping rip. Dealing with the NA ping lag is unfortunately saying that he's going to see the death chamber on that side. And it looks like the rest of the squad found out the rest. I'm not necessarily sure it was Glock 9.
He got one of those hits he took.
Downtown.
That's absolutely incredible. Uptown, and as uptown as one can get.
Looking for an uptown girl living in this downtown world, bro.
You're sniping Haley's Comet.
Finding that with the laser focus, so clean coming out in this early game from Glock 9. Early skirmish solidified the team that they had wounded already down, and we'll see how they can continue to run through. But it looks like they actually just fell prey to Complexity. The side of Complexity, Monsoon Madness. I see them with some kills.
Bailing back out. Hovering a bit, waiting for their chance to strike. Complexity. They got 4 walls and a roof around them, offering some security here and a chance to get healed up, to get those shields topped off. And generally speaking, they can plan of action, but like I said earlier, there can't be any moments of true stillness. They always got to be either making some calculations, making some observations, and doing things that help them keep a tactical edge even while healing. And that syringe in is no excuse for not being actively trying to gather some intel and make some plans based on what you know, based on the positions you have on the map, and based on what you've seen since your last interaction.
So many checks coming in at this early game. We're seeing already 3 squads dropping before the first circle is even becoming too much of an issue for people. So it is going to be nothing but tempo increasing from here, I could imagine, as people are starting to rotate now. A lot of teams are going to be caught out. Team Nestle seem to be trying to get the upper hand on this fight, but gunned down. Bamboozled as always, trying to kite out the last ticks of health on its Panda, proving to be enough as Octane speed. Oh, unfortunately gets the hedge and using the shield bat slows him down. He's not going to be able to move too efficiently there and gets a shot to the back, taking out him and his squad.
Beautiful work. Thus far, we have 15 squads left. 5 already dropped off of the board for our final match. 5 competitors we won't have to worry about with our final members out there. Getting that vision out. Nothing spotted in the immediate vicinity. Gives them a chance to move ahead. A little bit of comfort. They're covering very open territory, though, with the map wide open ahead of them. That circle a distant threat. They are vulnerable for the potential of somebody getting a couple of shots off from afar. But at this stage of the game, very likely for us to see people playing a little bit too safe for us to have any full-scale engagements this early on.
elevate losing a member there. Super crucial for them to have already lost a member. We see Mad Dogs using that signature Octane platform that they've used so well today. How they came in for that insane triple kill that unfortunately ended the run for our team so far, is taking people off the map, but doing so in style. It's going to see such, not going to feel bad when it's been such great gameplay that takes you out of a great run. You know that at least you lost to a valiant foe who is capable of some very just highlight-worthy moments. But before I can even get into that, Complexity's in a very close quarters exchange here, getting dropped. Very equal exchange from his Watson and Blur favors. We'll see if either of them are able to come out ahead, as Complexity has proven very valiant so far in gunfights. So far, Complexity is now on the back foot. Reptar is having to escape. Banner's nowhere in sight as he's getting distance, but getting gunned down in his retreat just like that. Fully eliminated. Complexity now taken off the map by, I believe that's Dark Matter White.
Death Totem is active here, so they've got the ability to push a little heavy. Dark Matter White shows off their capability to play the aggression. 12 squads left here. They are going to be taking some fire from afar, but not much of it appears to land. The Team Nestle does not get to do too much clearing there. Somebody else, however, just below them, going to take a little bit more heat as they try to seek refuge indoors. They managed to get the cover they need, but they will be getting preyed upon here as that vision has once again come through. Somebody's Octane is about to get snuck up on, but he managed to slip behind a wall there before he can get lasers. Too bad.
Bowser trying to use that terrain there, trying to get some parkour and not getting enough movement. Unfortunately, looks like he's not able to support his team. Nothing, wasn't able to get the angle he necessarily wanted, but still able to get some follow-up fire as everybody is leaving that area. I see getting access to some loot as well, has some attachments that he was looking for, got the shatter caps as well, trying to level up some of those bullets coming out from those heavy weapons.
Just say that you are not, nope, you're not coming through there. Locking off one of the doors there, but and having to run for another. Somebody caught outside that was going to actually rush mid-reload pattern. Excellent timing there, but he does get into a firefight regardless, and it's one that doesn't look like they're necessarily winning easy, and that unfortunately looks like it's going to be U.S. Army Esports taken completely out of the game.
Such a devastating firefight there. The Eva just locked in, I saw from Gibby. Gibby just doing such great movement as well, making himself an elusive foe and just unloading huge hitboxes across his foe. So just across both fights, both fronts that were going on there, Team Nestle just able to get the edge. They were the top qualifiers leading into their matches yesterday, and now showing as they're able to out-finesse such a team as U.S. Army Esports, somebody who's proven to be very valiant in firefights through this run. They were able to take them out in such a very convincing way. That was very clutch. Team Nestle, Gibby, very clutch in his solo adventure there, and then able to go and reinforce his team. Now they sit 10 squads left. These are going to be the top 10 squads of the grand final round, but not necessarily who will be sitting atop the leaderboard at the end of the day. So we'll have to continue to keep tabs on that as the second ring is closing.
Farm Boys in it to win it, no doubt, with the 10 squads left on the board. They are bearing down on some folks who are trying to bail out, retreating into safer territory here. They managed to get some distance, but not managed entirely to get into cover quite yet. So we see them getting a little bit aggressive here. The Wraith barreling in. Realizing that speed and go ahead and slipping into the void a little bit. Able to push ahead.
Farmer Lucas either 5-head with this approach or setting his team up to be absolutely thwarted in this approach, but it looks like they're actually going to approach and use that as a possible escape. They used by foot. Nobody entered the portal, and you see Impulsive Dreams looking for the flank. They might have been scanned out on approach, so you might have that character model tag, but we don't have time for that. Exet is in their own very heated gunfight here, trying to escape back into this building as they know that they're going to be in a bad spot with those mountainous region that they had previously been in the fight in, so they're trying to get into this, get the edge, possibly some guerrilla warfare inside of this building, but they're still being rained on from above. Easier to eat headshots. Does get the nice flank turnaround as using the building so beautifully. Nice use of the topography there. Looking behind, you see Exet getting a nice use of the building. They got a very clean retreat and are able to capitalize on it.
Up and back down. Exet with a little bit of breathing room here. I'll have the opportunity to get that shield bat popped, and generally speaking, have another one of those periods of reset and recuperation. Folks, this match has gone a little bit hot, a little bit faster than we are used to with this particular lineup, with only 9 squads left, and there's still being plenty of time. The arena not being as narrow as we have had it's needed to be before we get down to numbers this low. Things might be finishing up faster than expected even, and already we knew this was going to be wild and crazy from the very start. Switching perspectives quickly here, we can see snapshots of all the chaos unfolding here, including Bruvs here under attack from an open doorway, trying to get the peek and fire off on somebody that's within the protective bubble of yet another Gibby ability. Meanwhile, Dark Matter Black is on the board here, but as we speak, Valkyrie is getting absolutely melted. And Mad Dogs is bearing down on, I believe that is that very Valkyrie is the one being targeted, but so is Mad Dogs. Octane trying to bail out, is taking third-party fire from deep. It's Exet getting their revenge.
Exec doing the thing on this round, trying to find Mad Dogs on the brink of what looked to be a great offensive position from them. Turns against them, charge rifle shots coming in deep from Exet. They're going to need to disengage Noth, I'm Madness, and Cody using that Octane jump pad that they've had to use so aggressively previously, now in a defensive way, try to get some heal on the team. Madness almost fully dropped. I think he was dropped. They might have went in with the res, with that Gibby skill, and made it that he was able to get at least safe, get the Octane jump pad out, and we're able to get now stabilized in this building, but took a lot of damage there. Elevate GG, able to get back Muzin.
Shots coming through the window there. They know somebody's knocking on the door wanting to come through, but they're a little bit far away, so they've got the ability to either focus on who they got eyes on, take a couple of shots through the window of their own, and try to do some damage, or focus on who's going to be coming through that pass sometime soon. They've got a little bit of time before anyone can actually get up to them, and with the eyes they have on them, they know they have the breathing room to take an action, but which move to make and how much to invest in that particular angle is always a risky bet.
No better place to bet than here and now in grand finals. There is now or never if you're looking to change up the fate of what you've previously had or retain the lead that you've been able to secure through these 5 intense games so far. This so far is definitely the most intense though. Been so heated. Already 9 squads left as that third circle is not even closing in. We've been to this point with 15 squads previously, but the thing I would say is different about this is everything is full squad wipes. There's only one team that is missing a member. In general, we have so many full squad wipes every time an exchange is happening. We're seeing more members drop, so that may be a telling tale to what's going to happen to Dark Matter White here. They're trying to retreat. Dumpling guy is on the ropes, gonna be cleaned up because nobody's there to reinforce him. Revenant not having that death totem already being used, trying to fire out that skill and make the approach a bit more difficult from the enemy team, but losing their Gibby there, having a lot of their offensive capabilities still in tow, but it's going to be a lot more difficult to pull it off when you don't have the reassurance of those backups in the Revenant ulti and the Gibby.
Quick pickups happening here with Mad Dogs doing a little bit of clearing once again, trying to keep those ammo and shield bat reserves topped off. Further out, Mad Dogs is coming up on some action ahead. I do believe I saw movement that's going to turn into engagement sometime soon. Team Nestle diving in on a Gibby bubble already active. So nice already happening on the shield there. Diving through. Is this going to be a full breach to clear? We can see the bubble going down. They're indoors and a brute forcing their way ahead. Team Nestle, however, turning around, doing some excellent counter offense work. We are down to 7 squads.
Bowser and Splash just raining down supreme. Bowser even taking over the kill leader in that experience. So just so much devastation being brought down from that offensive play, even waning us down now to 7 squads left. We're seeing the pace of what was already an explosive bout be turned up even more by these teams who are looking to solidify a better spot in that $10,000 grand prize.
Meanwhile, Convoys gets a turnaround. We'll once again have to do a lot of dodging charge rifle shots there. But we'll manage to keep their various limbs attached. How they handle that situation, though, whoever's coming up the pass there is going to be a difficult question. 6 squads are left, and we're dropping numbers steadily here.
Farm Boys do have a great position for where this 4th circle will be, but Rakanishu taking so much damage is going to prove very difficult. They're getting great bank shots down on these teams that are fighting. Now going to fully go in for the 3rd party as people have started to drop. Able to get X-Set fully almost cleared out now as they do get what looks to be a so close. X-Set actually do get the turnaround on the approach from Farm Boys. What?
Managing to pull it all back. X-Set still on their feet. That Octane is absolutely in rough shape, but they are going to be able to get him back up as long as nothing comes around the corner as we speak. No, they managed to get him up, but there's enemies close inbound. They are about to be bear down on. They don't have a lot of time to get out of there.
They stood that ground so well, knowing the last shots were going to be pivotal, still making sure to bring them out and make sure they were laser focused. Such a great last stand in the grand finals.
Hold the line.
Hold the door.
Hold the line. As we see CHR, one of our final 5 squads, we're already down to the wire, folks. With another getting taken down within the protective bubble of, once again, the Gibraltar ability. We can see the ult popping, laying down some suppressive fire. Enemies all locked up indoors there. CHR tries to go for the push. One goes up again.
Hambino's feeling in the pocket, already sitting at 3 kills, plenty of damage, sitting, feeling comfortable, sliding in with that flatline, just firing off the hip, not even needing ever to aim down sight, just using it very gently to just fire in, just getting a few focused shots, and then just like that, using what looks to be some insane energy, deterring any type of approach from the coming team. CHR sitting comfortably now with kills spread across the team.
Fantastic work done there. CHR is in a beautiful spot here. Only 4 squads left, and it looks like they might all be falling victim to the kind of teamwork and coordination that has gotten CHR this far, especially considering their great position here. A couple of other squads already being engaged in firefights, taking heat from them from on high. Team Nestle also with a great vantage point here. As the storm closes further in, that Gibraltar also really doing a lot of work here, given how narrow a space that we all have to share in these final few moments.
Team Nestle are poised in that king of the hill position that does tend to spawn here. We'll see where the last circle, or where the pin drop circle chooses to go, but right now they're sitting pretty. They also are very decorated with the armor. Ultimates are sitting in tow. We'll see when they choose to go in, when they're choosing to drop off this hill as they do now, and when as a Gibraltar ultimate approaches on the teams that are kind of in a gunfight situation down there at the building. They're trying to get a little bit of cheeky damage off, accelerate the pace of this game. 50 seconds still left until the pin drop circle, but they're not trying to wait for that to come in.
Not by any means. Team Nestle is well in range to do some dangerous work here, but those 4 squads are still on the board. So they know it's going to be dangerous to them as well. Once again, we have a situation which we're getting down to these final moments, and there's a total choke point going on where no one person can stick their head out anywhere without coming into line of fire of someone else. Keeping eyes out. There's the 4 corners of this circle are all well and truly occupied.
I hold the north. You hold the east. We see a reveal of where that 6th spot may be. We'll see what's going to happen now. Actually, no, this is going to be the 5th round coming in, starting to close in. People that are outside the circle will have moments now as that circle does close very quickly. 38 seconds on that timer, that circle growing ever so smaller as the grand finals that have been in this pressure cooker of final minutes will begin to boil too much for the Instapot to hold. You will not be able to contain your dinner much longer. You must feast, my friends.
One way or another, come a few more minutes, somebody's going to be eaten, and it looks like CHR might be getting starved out here. An aggressive push there takes a lot of their resources down to the wire here. They managed to fight back, but they're getting flanked. Coming in from the outside, I think that might be it for CHR. Down to Justin Gibraltar, fighting for his life, but he's going down. Team Nestle, one of the two last survivors, and Team Nestle ultimately finishing up the clear.
Team Nestle had such great positioning. We talked about it. They were the kings of the hill. They got to choose when to come down to the mortals and bestow their presence of red armor that was fully charged. It's just full ammunition, absolutely keen builds for what they needed. They had so much at their disposal, and they had the proactive edge. You saw as they busted through the doors as the fight started coming with the flank positioning. CHR had nothing to do. There was no answer for that because even though there were two Gibraltar bubbles, they're inside of the building. Everybody's close quarters. There's plenty of EVA. There's plenty of flatline hit firing that we've seen people be so adept with in this set so far. Just what a grand final ending.
What a grand final ending indeed. And that is our that's it. That's our last game, folks. After 2 wild days of action and intensity, after moments like these, look at the arc on the jump. Picturesque coming in with a swan dive, 10 points from everybody. It's great to see just how many different names we got to see come through as winners over the course of this second day. Just how many different names we got on the leaderboards. Truly, this was not a one-sided match for anybody. Truly, there was no one definitive winner all the way through. This was a very interesting and engaging act of push and pull, coming and going in terms of who was taking those early game advantages or taking those late game wins that showed off how great everybody that managed to make it to this second day of our tournament truly is.
Absolutely. Exit Farm Boys. And we think again of Mad Dogs, I'm Madness in that triple kill that we saw in the opening. Just so much dominant display of talent through all of these players. We got to see some amazing Last Dance Exit in that choke point there. Guns against the wall. Everybody was holstered up. There was nobody to be seen, but the revivals came in clutch. CHR thought that they had the push here, but they fell foe to the Team Nestle onslaught that had such great positioning in that final bout. They were able to sit at the high ground, able to wait out and see where everybody was going, and then clean up house, be the champions. The final standings, we saw our teams that unfortunately did not get into the money, but had an amazing showing and will get their hand on some Titan points as well. They're going to have such an amazing exposure as well to some higher ranked competitive Apex because of the teams that they did get into the money. Glock 9 sitting there, bamboozled as always. Trobros, Dent Heads, Ellen Demons, such a very close contention for those spots there. United States Army Esports, who did amazing. They almost got to the 33 points that they would have needed, but unfortunately the teams that had 33 points were able to continue to get more. They were cut short of their path to continue up the scoreboard, but very amazing run. Dark Matter White did amazing as well, tied with Team FMS for that 13th spot. And then we see Dark Matter Black and the Coercion, who did have great runs. Coercion was deep in a lot of these runs, but it just speaks to how competitive this bracket was.
Truly, and it can't be said enough. Coercion, in fact, as you can see, was 1 point away from our 10th position slot on the point totals, with Bruvs at 37 over them at 36. But we get to see an interesting lineup that's got a lot of names that it makes a lot of sense, but a couple that were some upheavals at the very end. A lot of things changed, and even those we knew some of our competitors in our first couple of places were going to be in those upper echelons, there have been some adjustments here. In 9th place, you have Legends Never Die, and 8th, Exit managed to come out from a very rough early start to still get into our top 10. TSS in 7th. Elevate GG managed to claim 6th. Team Nestle in 5th. Farm Boys sailing all the way to 4th place. CHR all the way in 3rd. Complexity still in 2nd, and at the top of the pack, after all is said and done, one of our fan favorites from the former day, Mad Dogs, taking our first place prize.
You gave that every single drop and amount of hype that it deserved. Shout out to our teams that are taking home these cash prizes. Mad Dogs, $3,250 between the squad. That was a well worth 2 days. And man, they did it so with grace and style. Just amazing clips coming in from that squad. Complexity going home with $2,250. CHR, $1,050. Farm Boys, they worked their way all the way up from what seemed to be a very rough start into getting now $750 split between them. Team Nestle, $600. Elevate GG in 6th place, $600. TSS also taking home that same prize. Shout out to those orgs for giving us an amazing show. Just such heart shown out here. This set is so amazing. Speaking of sets, X set got that 8th place prize. You were concerned about their early run, and there they sit on the leaderboard, taking home a pretty penny between the three of them. And LND, Legends Never Die, also securing a great placement, going to be taking home the exact same set as X set. LND going to be at $300 and X-Brubs also at $300. Shout out to everyone that's taking home money, those Titan points. Shout out to everybody that came out and contended today and gave us such an amazing show. We are so thankful for everyone that's competed.
It's been a wild match to be sure. We have had absolutely a whole crop of folks that deserve to get some money, and I'm glad to see so much wealth being spread. Again, it's being shared among such high quality individuals that I'm excited to see more of. You never know when the next opportunity will be for these players to get out there and once again show off what they've got. So please stick around and continue watching Trovo for all the great tournaments coming up ahead across various esports. There are great prizes, great competitors being brought together, and as a result, these tournaments are a marvel just to watch in action. And keep in mind, you're participating in the community in all these wonderful ways. You're getting those Titan points as well. You're getting in on the action, reaping some of these fantastic prizes, and being as entertained as I and my co-hosts have been over the course of the past wonderful 2 days.
Absolutely, Caleb, man. It's been a pleasure. Everybody, don't forget to tap in with us on our socials at Trovo Titans. You know where we're at. Go to trovotitans.live for every upcoming event. We have plenty lined up, plenty of ways for you to get exposure on this stage, and we'd love to see you. So we once again thank you so much for attending the broadcast. For everybody that's been here from moment one and has just now tuned in to see that amazing grand final, we appreciate you, and we'll see you very soon.